Chapter 369. Jiang Chongkong didn't bother with him. His figure flashed and appeared in the valley below. Martial artists rushed over. Dao rhymes appeared in the sky and the sunlight was dazzling. Silently, the martial artists disappeared from the world, leaving only some clothes and equipment behind. This guy has already become so terrifying? He was killed before even activating a rank 10 treasure. Liang Qiushhuani was shocked. High-level martial artists are no different from ants in front of top-level martial artists, Feng Qixing said solemnly. This combat power has really reached the star path? Liang Qiushhuani asked with uncertainty. Actually, I have never seen a star path martial artist fight, but Jiang Chongkong has already surpassed the star path by too much. Feng Qixing said with an ugly expression. Before going into seclusion, he was already infinitely close to the star path. Liang Qiushhuani did not speak. This was very likely to have reached the star path combat power. As he opened his eyes, the sun, moon, and stars rotated, and the great Tao imprint was engraved in the stars. Everywhere he looked, everything disappeared, leaving only what he wanted. The houses disappeared, the corpses disappeared, leaving only a pile of star crystals and a pile of equipment. The two descended from the sky and came to Jiang Chongkong's side. All right, let's collect the spoils of war. Jiang Chongkong stepped in and started to collect the star crystals, using the equipment to process them. Liang Qiushhuani and Feng Qixing quickly helped. After counting the star crystals, the harvest was huge. There was close to 200 million essence, energy, and spirit. With a few more strongholds, he could step into the star path without looking for the remnant beings of space. Jiang Chongkong heaved a sigh of relief. This way, he did not need to take risk. The remnant beings of space were overseen by star path martial artists. There were many mid- and late-stage star path martial artists, but he did not know the peak star path martial artists. You can take a portion of the rank 7 star crystals, leave the rest for me. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Many thanks. Liang Qiushhuani thanked him. Ever since she followed Jiang Chongkong, she could not use up all the star crystals. With the help of the star crystals, she had reached the limit of the initial stage star embryo. Although this speed of improvement was far from Jiang Chongkong's, it was still faster than ordinary sky prides. Jiang Chongkong continued to search for information with a hint of doubt. The research on the extreme yin and extreme yang only reaches the peak of the star path? The information he had previously found was also the peak of the star path. There were no star saints who were close to the god level. I'm not sure about that. Liang Qiushhuani shook her head. Jiang Chongkong nodded and didn't say anything else. He focused on sorting out the files and processing the star crystals. Buzz. Inside the spatial ring, a grayish-yellow bead vibrated. Jiang Chongkong took it out, and a fluent voice in StarCraft came over. Good brother, where are you? Abyss Dragon? You came out of seclusion? Jiang Chongkong asked in surprise. Feng Qixing and Liang Qiushhuani's gazes gathered over. They were equally surprised. The Netherworld Abyssal Dragon was an expert who comprehended the Yellow Springs Great Tao. He had devoured the corpse of a star sage previously, so logically speaking, it would take several years or even decades for him to come out of seclusion. However, only half a year had passed, and the Abyssal Dragon came out of seclusion. I just killed a bunch of them at the location of my old enemy, Jiang Chongkong said. Can't you sense the location of this bead? Yes, wait for me. The Abyssal Dragon's voice came over, with a hint of dissatisfaction. How can you not call me when it comes to killing? Isn't it because I don't want to trouble you? Moreover, you also have to cultivate in seclusion, Jiang Chongkong said. He paused for a moment, then asked, Why did you come out so soon? We'll talk about this when I come over. After the Abyssal Dragon finished speaking, the bead released traces of Taoist rhymes, which spread in the air. The three of them looked at each other, full of doubts. There was something wrong with this Abyssal Dragon. It was improving too quickly. Could it be that this abyssal dragon was also cheating? Not long after, a huge flood dragon appeared out of thin air, with a strong stench. The yellow springs surged, and the abyssal dragon didn't seem to have changed much, except that it had grown by half. Its body was 150 zhang long. Then, the abyssal dragon quickly shrunk to 1 zhang long, and looked at Jiang Chongkong excitedly. "Good brother. Don't come over. Put away your stench first." Jiang Chongkong took 2 steps back. This abyssal dragon actually wanted to hug him. To hell with it, it stinks. The yellow springs shrank and entered his body, and the stench disappeared. "Good brother, I have now stepped into the star path realm." As he said that, a strong Taoist might spread, and Liangqiu Xuani directly fell to the ground, her face pale. Feng Qixing's body was also hunched as if he was carrying a mountain on his back. Under the Taoist might, the ground was melting, and the void realm's space trembled as if it could not withstand it. A top-level warrior could break through the void realm's space. Jiang Chongkong's expression was indifferent, as if he did not feel the pressure. This abyssal dragon made him feel some pressure. He was definitely not a match for it with star power alone, but with the 3 astral bodies, he could only be a loach. After showing off for a while, the abyssal dragon retracted its Taoist might. "Brother Chongkong, thank you for giving me that body." "You're welcome. I have no use for the body." Jiang Chongkong smiled. "Are souls useful to you?" "Not much. The Yellow Springs lineage originally had the ghost path and the corpse path, which could be cultivated at the same time. It's just that I was born too late, and the Yellow Springs lineage's inheritance was cut off. There is no ghost path, so I can only focus on the corpse path." The abyssal dragon said, "When I find the ghost path inheritance one day, my endless Yellow Springs will have thousands of evil spirits. I have a near-God-level soul inheritance. If you need it, I can pass it to you," Jiang Chongkong said after some thought. His generosity should be able to gain the abyssal dragon's favor, right? "How about this, do you want to share your rapid cultivation method?" "You really are my good brother," the abyssal dragon said emotionally, then shook his head. "The ghost path of the Yellow Springs is not a pure soul martial path. It is of no help to me." "Then I can only prepare a corpse for you," Jiang Chongkong said regretfully. "It's a pity that I didn't know you came out of seclusion. Not a single corpse was left." "It's all right. Next, we brothers will work together to kill all living beings and turn the void realm into a world of death," the abyssal dragon said with a look of longing. "Feng Qixing and Liangqiu Xuani, are you crazy? You've just stepped into the star path, and you're already this arrogant? Be careful that you don't provoke a star sage, and he will destroy you." Jiang Chongkong coughed softly and said, "Brother, if you have strength, you must know how to keep a low profile. In this world, there are still star sages and near-God level people. Moreover, other than star sages and near-God level people, there were also mid-stage star path and star sage powerhouses." The abyssal dragon nodded and said mysteriously, "I understand. Chongkong, come with me." "Okay." Jiang Chongkong was moved and followed the abyssal dragon to the side. After getting away from the two, the abyssal dragon lowered its voice and said, "Brother, are you curious why I came out of seclusion so quickly?" "Very curious," Jiang Chongkong admitted. "I'm even tempted." The abyssal dragon laughed and said, "It'd be strange if I'm not tempted. Let me tell you, I have a treasure in my hands. I don't know what it is, but it's what allowed me to be born in advance. Originally, I was just a spirit of the Yellow Springs, but the Yellow Springs unexpectedly gave birth to a wisp of consciousness. There's a mystical item in the Yellow Springs that allowed me to grow rapidly." Jiang Chongkong was even more curious. "What mystical item is it?" "This." A palm-sized golden slate appeared in the abyssal dragon's hand. There were no patterns on it, but it emitted a mysterious aura. Jiang Chongkong could not see anything strange. "Can I see it?" "Take it." The abyssal dragon threw it to him. Jiang Chongkong squeezed it and could not move it at all. There was nothing extraordinary about it either. It was like a piece of scrap metal in his hand. I can't tell. This thing has already recognized me as its master. Although it doesn't have much power, it can speed up the transformation, comprehension, and condensation of the great Tao. The abyssal dragon said in a low voice, "I'll only tell you about this treasure, brother. Only I can use it. I definitely won't tell anyone." "Don't worry, brother," Jiang Chongkong said. "Speed up condensation of the great Tao." This was what he needed, an auxiliary divine tool. However, he did not want to snatch it. The abyssal dragon was clearly inexperienced. A dragon stayed in the Yellow Springs and did not move. He gave it the Star Saint's corpse and taught it the star text. Obviously, the abyssal dragon regarded him as a real brother. He could not snatch his brother's things. Of course, the abyssal dragon dared to take it out because it had achieved the star path. It could definitely suppress him, and was not afraid that he would have evil intentions. As for this, Jiang Chongkong did not point it out. The abyssal dragon would know in the future. The abyssal dragon proudly showed off its treasure. Seeing that Jiang Chongkong was not tempted at all, it was even more relieved. Its claw patted Jiang Chongkong's shoulder and said solemnly, "Brother, don't worry. If you need to go into seclusion in the future, just look for Brother Dragon." Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. "Brother Dragon. All right, you're old, I'll be your brother." Chapter 370. The Abyss Dragon's arrival gave Jiang Chongkong some understanding of the star path. He did not need to care about martial artists who had just stepped into the star path. There were many strongholds in the Immortal Palace. Once he perfected his martial arts or stepped into the star path, one attribute was probably no weaker than the early stage of the star path. The human and dragon returned to the device. The Abyss Dragon lay beside it, very curious. "This thing can process star crystals?" The Abyss Dragon smacked its lips, feeling very magical. "It's really fast. Just put it in." "Do you usually not move in the Yellow Springs?" Jiang Chongkong asked. The Abyss Dragon turned to look at him. "I don't usually move. I want to comprehend the great Tao." "Then why are you willing to move now?" Jiang Chongkong was sure that this was a shut-in dragon. Moreover, it was a veteran shut-in who had not moved for decades. Feng Qi Xing interrupted. "The Star Sage's corpse cultivates much faster than him. It will definitely come out." The Abyss Dragon nodded. "Brother Chongkong, whose grave are we going to dig later?" Jiang Chongkong. "You guy don't always want to dig graves. I wanted to, but there is no news." He also did not know where there were ruins. However, the Abyss Dragon needed corpses, so it should need skeletons too. Should he trick him back and take him to the ancient battlefield? "Do you want white bones?" Jiang Chongkong asked. "There are only white bones left. There is no flesh or blood. There is a lot of energy. If the great Tao imprint has not dissipated, it will be of some help," the Abyss Dragon replied. "I have already stepped into the star path. Corpses without comprehending the great Tao are useless to me." Jiang Chongkong thought of the golden skeleton deep in the ancient battlefield. It should have been a top martial artist when he was alive. At this point, the Abyss Dragon was somewhat infatuated. The Star Sage's corpse lost too much of its great Tao imprint. Otherwise, I could have improved further. Even with the protection of the star array, after so many years, the Star Sage's corpse's great Tao imprint had dissipated a lot. The Abyss Dragon digested the corpse and comprehended the Yellow Springs corpse Tao. It did not care about martial artists of any element. As long as it was a corpse. Where are the star crystals? Jiang Chongkong had to figure this out. If he still needed star crystals, then he would have to discuss his next move carefully. The star crystal no longer has death chi. Abyss Dragon shook his head. If there is a pure corpse path star crystal, then it will be of great use to me. I don't have anything else. Only then did Jiang Chongkong heave a sigh of relief. There was no conflict of interest, so he could work with them without worry. Feng Qi-shing muttered, "Previously we saw a giant corpse with a very powerful Great Tao imprint. It was in a treasure trove close to divinity." The Abyss Dragon's eyes lit up, and he looked at Jiang Chongkong in excitement. It was obvious that it wanted to devour the corpse. "Don't talk nonsense. Focus on processing the star crystals." Jiang Chongkong frowned. Feng Qi-shing was really courting death. If the Abyss Dragon really ran over, there was an 80% chance that it would be pressed down and rubbed against. It would not even be able to fight back. Not to mention the living demigod, the group of soul worms alone was enough to eat the Abyss Dragon. Feng Qi-shing smiled awkwardly and quickly explained to the Dark Dragon. The Dark Dragon gave up on the idea and continued to look at the apparatus. There were many apparatus here. The apparatus of the two strongholds added together, along with the star crystals, had already processed a lot. In just 2 days, all the star crystals had been processed. Liang Qiuxuani got some of the rank 7 ones, and Jiang Chongkong took the rest. "Why don't you give me some too?" Feng Qi-shing said eagerly. "Wait until you learn to be obedient. Did you want to run before and even hire people to deal with me?" Jiang Chongkong said coldly. These star crystals were still useful to him, so he couldn't give them to Feng Qi-shing, not even one piece. Before Feng Qi-shing could speak, the Abyss Dragon's gaze landed on him, and a trace of killing intent locked onto him. "A misunderstanding, I was just saying it casually," Feng Qi-shing quickly said. This Abyss Dragon was clearly siding with Jiang Chongkong. The person in question didn't even say anything, so why were you so anxious? Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and said, "Let's go to the next Immortal Palace stronghold." 3 people and 1 dragon merged into heaven and earth, heading to the next Immortal Palace stronghold. Buzz. After a few steps, the 3 people and 1 dragon left heaven and earth at the same time. Many strange star formations appeared in the void before them. The star formations covered the void, sealing off a radius of 50 kilometers, blocking the way. Liang Qiuxuani frowned and said, "Could it be that the Immortal Palace's people are on guard?" Rumble. Right after she said that, an overwhelming star power appeared in front of them. Star power of all colors surged, and a green tornado emitted traces of Tao. A woman dressed in green stood on the tornado, wind blades covering the sky around her. There were also 2 men and a woman hiding in the storm. Flames rushed into the sky, and in the scarlet light, a flaming bird circled, breathing out divine fire. The Tao was dense, and these were all experts who had comprehended the great Tao mark. In the distance, a person wearing battle armor stood and watched the battle from afar. Below, the blazing sun surged, and the sun barrier blocked the power of wind and fire. A group of martial artists ran within the barrier, and 3 rank 10 golden crows flapped their wings and flew out, their might unfathomable. The golden crows soared into the sky, breathing out the flames of the sun. The Tao was dense, and everywhere they passed, the green wind blades disappeared. Screech! The flaming bird rushed over and clashed with the golden crows. 2 golden crows met the bird, and one of them breathed out the flames of the sun, burning the green tornado. Rumble! With the appearance of the 3 golden crows, the wind and fire sides immediately fell into a disadvantage. "Third sister, little sister, why are the fire vein here?" Feng Qi-shing's expression changed, and he was about to rush over. "It's the wind veins people?" Jiang Chongkong felt it was strange. "What's wrong with the wind vein? Why are you finding trouble with the Immortal Palace?" "It's because of my junior sister." Liang Qiuxuani looked at the armored woman, and her eyes flickered. "I didn't expect my master to have news about you, and actually be able to invite you." Jiang Chongkong smiled. "Your master is really capable. You came to invite me, and the rest of you invited the remnant stars." "Brother, don't talk nonsense, eat them all," the Abyss Dragon said excitedly. The Yellow Springs had already been mobilized again, and it was ready to rush in and eat everyone. Changkong, the wind vein really doesn't have any ill intentions towards you. Please show mercy. Feng Qixing's expression changed, and he pleaded. Another dragon at the peak of the star path could already sweep through this place, not to mention Jiang Changkong, whose battle prowess was at the star path. Brother dragon, my target is the immortal palace below. Don't kill the people above, Jiang Changkong said. The abyss dragon nodded. I'll listen to you, brother. However, these people are too weak. Quickly finish them off, and we'll go look for the corpses. After tasting the sweetness and experiencing the feeling of rapid improvement, the abyss dragon no longer cared about those below the star path. Only the cultivators who comprehended the great Tao could fill the gaps between his teeth. Don't destroy their spatial equipment. Leave the astral crystals for me. Jiang Changkong instructed, and he stepped into the battlefield. Roar! The abyss dragon was already impatient, and it turned into a 350-meter-long dragon body, and rushed into the battlefield. Jiang Changkong led the two into the formation, and a pressure assaulted them. As the Tao circulated, the pressure immediately dissipated. Netherworld Dragon. The abyss dragon's appearance attracted everyone's attention. This was a master that left only death in its path, and it was a star path netherworld dragon. Chapter 371. Whoosh! The yellow springs claimed one's life. Wherever it passed, there would be no life left. Rumble! The sky shook violently. The wind and fire arrays emitted dense Tao energy, but they couldn't stop the power of the yellow spring. Crack, crack! Like a chain breaking, the patterns of the star arrays broke, and the power of wind and fire dissipated. The power of the storm and the flaming birds had weakened a little. Green and red blood spilled. Those with the wind and fire branches couldn't stop the golden crows and were sent flying. The power of wind and fire appeared in the air and surged toward the netherworld dragon. A bunch of ants. The netherworld dragon waved its claws in disdain. The aura of death was dense. The gray aura of death swept up the yellow spring and destroyed the wind and fire. The power of wind and fire dissipated, and the Tao energy spread. The wind and fire branches were injured again. The armored figures in the distance flew away in a panic. However, before they could get far, yellow springs blocked their way. Screech! The three golden crows gave up on their opponents and charged at the netherworld dragon. The sun's fire burned the sky and boiled the ocean, trying to burn the yellow spring. I'm not afraid of you now. After stepping into the star path, the netherworld dragon was no longer afraid of those rank 10 golden crows. Whoosh! The water of the yellow spring fell, extinguishing the sun's fire and corroding the golden crows' bodies. The netherworld dragon opened its mouth and spat out endless corpse energy. The sky darkened. Boom! The 3 golden crows exploded and turned into a rain of fire. 3 solar source stones flew toward Jiang Changkong. Jiang Changkong took them. This netherworld dragon was a good friend. Netherworld dragon, the netherworld dragon is here. Terrified screams sounded. The celestial palace's stronghold was in chaos. The sun barrier emitted a vast amount of star energy and the Tao energy became denser, blocking the yellow spring. Those with the wind and fire branches were blocked by the yellow spring and couldn't escape. In their panic, they saw Feng Qixing and hurriedly called out, Qixing, senior sister Xuani. The armor also called out excitedly. Changkong, let's go, Liangqiu Xuani said. Jiang Changkong nodded. Brother dragon, I'll send them over first and then destroy this place with you. Brother, go ahead and play. Leave these ants to me. The abyss dragon swung its claw and pressed it against the barrier. Boom! The barrier, which was emitting a dense Taoist rhyme, shattered immediately, and the yellow springs poured in. The yellow spring corroded everything, but the abyss dragon controlled it very well. It was the spirit of the yellow springs, and the yellow springs could be said to be its main body, and its control was perfect. It could be said that the yellow springs was like Jiang Changkong's spirit-controlling art. The abyss dragon knew every single place it went. One by one, the martial artists turned into corpse water and merged with the yellow springs. Lord Netherworld Dragon, if there are martial artists with wind and fire powers, please show mercy, Feng Qi Xing hurriedly said. The people of the wind and fire veins would not attack the immortal palace for no reason. When Shao Qian thought of his subordinates' corpses, it was likely that the immortal palace had captured them. The Abyss Dragon cast a glance at Jiang Chongkong, and when he saw him nod, he stopped attacking. With the Abyss Dragon's help, Jiang Chongkong was also defeated once. He would just treat it as a chance for the Abyss Dragon to practice. It had just broken through, so it should be a little excited. There were 4 people from the Wind Vein, 2 men and 2 women, and 2 young men from the Fire Vein. However, these people were not weak. The weakest was at the peak of the mid-stage Star Body Realm, and the strongest 2 were at the peak of the Star Body Realm. The 2 peak Star Body Realm cultivators had comprehended a trace of the Great Tao. The armored woman was only at the early stage Star Embryo Realm, similar to Liang Qiuxuani. Now, Liang Qiuxuani was almost at the mid-stage Star Embryo Realm. The armored woman came up to them and asked, "Senior sister, why are you here with the people of the Wind Vein?" The mid-stage Star Body Realm girl of the Wind Vein pounced at Feng Qi Xing. "Brother Qi Xing, when did you come back? Didn't you go to capture Jiang Chongkong? Did you catch him?" "Ahem." Feng Qi Xing coughed softly and pushed the girl away. He winked and said, "Little sister, Jiang Chongkong is our honored guest. How can you say that we captured him?" "Yes, he is our honored guest, but Jiang Chongkong will definitely not come over obediently. We can't reveal his background, so we can only capture him." The girl tilted her head and said, "Tell me, where is Jiang Chongkong?" Feng Qi Xing's face twitched. He pointed at Jiang Chongkong and said, "This is Lord Jiang, a good friend of the Dark Dragon. He's extremely powerful." Jiang Chongkong looked at Feng Qi Xing with a teasing look, then at the girl. "I've been listening to Feng Qi Xing's stories about the Wind Vein. You too are from the Wind Vein? Are you from the Fire Vein? You even know about the Fire Vein?" The 2 young men looked at Jiang Chongkong cautiously, their fiery astral power fluctuating violently. "I advise you to calm down," Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. "Feng Shuling of the Wind Vein greets Lord Jiang," the girl in green said with a cupped fist salute. "Lord Jiang, this is my 3rd sister, and this is my little sister, Feng Xiaoye. 5th brother, Feng Hechuan. 6th brother, Feng Wen. These are the 2 brothers of the Fire Vein, Yen Hai and Yen Mo." Feng Qi Xing quickly introduced them, then repeated, "Chongkong is the Dark Dragon's brother, and he's extremely powerful." He was really afraid that these guys wouldn't know what was good for them and would kidnap Jiang Chongkong back. "This is my junior sister, Ling Hua," Liang Qiuxuani introduced. Jiang Chongkong nodded slightly. They knew each other. "Why did you attack the Immortal Palace's base?" He didn't believe that these people would attack the Immortal Palace without a reason. "We tracked down my younger brother's information and found out that it's related to the Immortal Palace. Miss Ling Hua gave us evidence. We didn't inform our family and came by ourselves," Feng Xiaoye said. "Younger brother has been killed," Feng Qi Xing said painfully. "Chongkong attacked and destroyed the Immortal Palace's base. I found his corpse." Immortal Palace. Feng Shuling and the others looked at their younger brother's corpse with cold expressions. The 2 from the Fire Vein were also grieving. Ling Hua looked down. The Dark Dragon had already wiped out the base. "Why are you with the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon? Also, this Dark Dragon has reached the Star Path realm." They basically knew about the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon. Logically speaking, it shouldn't have been possible for him to reach the Star Path without at least a decade or 2. But now, he had reached the Star Path and was hanging out with them. "You guys talk. I'll go down and take a look." Jiang Chongkong left in a flash. He was going to harvest the astral crystals. One base had close to 200 million astral crystals. The Dark Dragon was digesting the corpse with a satisfied expression. It's so comfortable. It'd be great if I could have this every day. I'll go find another base later, Jiang Changkong said calmly, but we have to be careful. The Immortal Palace will definitely react after destroying several bases. Brother, you're worrying too much. Who would dare to be presumptuous with me around? The Dark Dragon raised his head and said proudly. The Immortal Palace also has the Star Path. Be careful, Jiang Changkong reminded. The Dark Dragon had already become arrogant after stepping into the Star Path. Look at these astral crystals. They're all kept for you. The Dark Dragon changed the topic. He looked at the sky and swallowed his saliva. Can those few really not be eaten? Not for the time being. They're also my friends. Jiang Changkong frowned slightly. Don't worry. There will be plenty of corpses in the future. You won't be able to finish them. That's true. The Dark Dragon nodded heavily. If we sweep through the Void Realm, we won't be able to finish them. Jiang Changkong was speechless. I have this dream, but can you please keep it in mind? If you really do that, the Star Sage and the God Realm will come back and kill you. Moreover, there are still people from Earth in the Void Realm. I need to teach the Dark Dragon a lesson. Don't be greedy and eat everything. I should first count the astral crystals, then perfect my martial arts and try to see if the Dark Dragon's treasures are useful. Chapter 372. Another 200 million. In addition to the previous harvest, he had a total of 400 million essence, energy, and spirit. It was enough for him to perfect 2 martial arts. Brother Dragon, after these star crystals are dealt with, I plan to go into seclusion. Lend me your treasure. No problem, the Dark Dragon said straightforwardly. It wouldn't take long for Jiang Changkong to perfect his martial arts this time. He just wanted to see if this treasure was useful to him and how useful it was. If he used it well, he would definitely be his brother in the future. He wouldn't go so far as to snatch the treasure, but he would bring him around. He had killed many people. This time, the star crystals were dealt with in less than 2 days. Those people were still chatting, while Jiang Changkong was preparing to go into seclusion. The Dark Dragon took out the golden stone slab and gently scratched it with his dragon claws. The stone slab immediately released a blurry golden light. The stone slab floated up and stopped above Jiang Changkong's head. The golden light it released enveloped Jiang Changkong. Brother, go into seclusion. I'll go out first. After saying that, the Dark Dragon turned around and left. Jiang Changkong was enveloped by the golden light. He felt his great Tao imprints become active and appear. The imprints left by the 2 true gods also appeared automatically, as if they had encountered a great tonic. What treasure is this? Jiang Changkong was curious, but he still couldn't see through it, so he could only give up. Perfect martial arts, 30 feet golden body, bright moon art. With 2 martial arts perfected, Jiang Changkong suppressed the fluctuations and didn't reveal any anomalies. Within the Stargate there were 2 stars. The great Tao imprints and star array patterns increased. The star power increased, condensed, and turned into a terrifying power. Moreover, as the golden light scattered, the speed of condensation was very fast. He formed one in almost a breath's time. The Tao in his body became denser. Unfortunately, he still couldn't form 1 star with 1 drop of star power. He would see if he could comprehend it when he reached the star Tao realm. By then, he might be able to pry into the completed great Tao and change himself. With 2 martial arts perfected, Jiang Changkong's 9 force patterns swam in his body. If they appeared, they should be 1 meter thick. He was still very far from the dozens of feet of force patterns. The moon great Tao brought him closer to the bright moon. Jiang Changkong. Star Summit, high-tier high-grade martial art, 3-foot golden body, perfect 171, 5/171, 5 Tai Chi Yin-Yang art, perfect 1/171, 5 million domineering blade, perfect 1/171, 5 million holy sun art, perfected 1/171, 5 million God governing art, perfected 1/171, 5 million, bright moon art, completed 171, 5/171, 5 white cloud 9-tier sutra, completed 1/171. 5 million high-grade middle-grade array Tao, combat body star formation, incomplete perfect 1/171.5 million essence, energy and spirit, 129628854. After stabilizing his cultivation, Jiang Chongkong stood up, and the golden slate no longer emitted golden light. Looking at the time, only 2 hours had passed. This stone slab, at the very least, was a treasure close to the god level. The abyss dragon also sensed it. It walked over and put away the stone slab. "Brother, how is it?" "With Brother Long's treasure, it's naturally a success." Jiang Chongkong's eyes shone brightly. "Brother Long is really lucky. If news of this treasure were to spread, even deities would fight for it." "Of course, but brother, don't tell anyone else." The abyss dragon's expression became serious. "Don't worry, Brother Long is sharing such a treasure with me. Why would I tell anyone else?" Jiang Chongkong smiled. He was not stupid. Even if he was tempted, he would snatch it himself. Why would he tell others? However, he would not snatch it. He could use it even if the abyss dragon had it. "Then let's go to the next foothold," the abyss dragon urged. It could not wait any longer. It had just eaten a foothold's corpse, and it had also improved. "Let's go." Jiang Chongkong walked out of the house. Feng Qixing, Liang Qiuxuani, and Feng Xiaoye waited outside. Feng Shuiling and the others were gone. "They have left. They won't tell anyone about us," Feng Qixing said. Liang Qiuxuani also said, "I promise that junior sister won't betray me." "Feng Xiaoye, why haven't you left?" Jiang Chongkong asked in confusion. "I want to be with Brother Qixing." Feng Xiaoye shrank back in fear. In the past 2 days, Feng Qixing had already explained everything clearly. Jiang Chongkong's strength was no longer something they could do anything to. With his battle prowess of the Star Path, unless they invited a Star Path martial artist, anyone who came would die. "Then let's go." Jiang Chongkong led them to the next foothold. The Immortal Palace's footholds could be said to be everywhere here. If there were no accidents, it was completely enough for him to step into the Star Path. A few minutes later, the group arrived at a mountain peak. This was the Immortal Palace's foothold. However, this time, it was not the extreme Yang Star's barrier, but the extreme Yin Star's power. The Abyss Dragon directly rushed out. Its dragon claws tore the barrier, and the water of the yellow springs poured in. "The Abyss Dragon is here." A cry sounded and spread throughout the entire mountain peak. Suddenly, a sword light tore through the void and drowned the water of the yellow springs. Rumble! The 150 feet long Abyss Dragon shook, and its huge body tumbled in the air. A sword mark almost cut off its claws. Star Path! The Abyss Dragon swept up the yellow springs, and the foul-smelling water whistled. The surrounding void trembled violently. "Sneak attacker, come out and die." "Jiang Chongkong, you are really arrogant. The Star Path martial artist is very likely to be more powerful than you." "What an evil beast. A slight carelessness and I actually let you step into the Star Path." A middle-aged woman in white stepped into the air. Great Tao imprints intertwined and the void trembled. "I remember your aura. You once bullied me." The Abyss Dragon's expression was ferocious, and the yellow springs shook violently. "Today you will become the material of the yellow springs. Brothers, step back. Leave this woman to me." Feng Qixing and the other two were a little confused. "Can you handle it?" Jiang Chongkong thought for a moment and waved his hand. "You guys step back. I will watch here." This middle-aged woman gave him a lot of pressure. She was slightly stronger than the Abyss Dragon. Before he perfected his 2 martial arts, Jiang Chongkong was confident that he could defeat her. Now, he could completely kill her. Before that, he would let the Abyss Dragon suffer a little first, and he would do something himself. His soul power fluctuated, and Jiang Chongkong rushed toward the mountain peak. Then leave it to Brother Dragon. I will go and kill the others. With me here, you still dare to commit murder? The middle-aged woman's expression was cold, and her sword light slashed out. The moon's sword light had a deep Tao rhythm. Everywhere it passed, the void cracked. Rumble. The yellow springs surged, and corpse chi filled the sky. The Abyss Dragon's huge body blocked the sword light. Old woman, you are dead today. Back when he had not achieved the star path, the people of the Immortal Palace had bullied him many times. When he met Jiang Chongkong, he was chased by the Immortal Palace to find the Star Saint graveyard. This was not the first time he had experienced such a thing. However, the Abyss Dragon had no choice but to do as he was told. After entering the graveyard, he was faced with danger. When it was time to split the benefits, they chased him away, and he almost lost his life a few times. Only Jiang Chongkong did not regret sharing the corpses with him. Even though he could easily kill him, he did not regret it. That was why he could step into the star path now. That was why he was willing to share his treasures. Evil creature. The middle-aged woman's expression was cold. The moon great Tao manifested, and the void could not withstand it. Wherever the sword light passed, it was supported by the great Tao. Roar. The Abyss Dragon roared, and the yellow springs surged. The power of the corpse path supported the yellow springs, and it clashed with the bright moon. Boom! The star path existences clashed, and the void collapsed. The might of the Tao spread out, and everything melted in the wake of the aftermath. Fortunately, Liangqiu Xuani and the others were already far away. Otherwise, the aftermath alone could kill them. This is a star path martial artist? A hint of shock appeared on Liangqiu Xuani's calm face. This is only the early stage of the star path. Feng Qixing said solemnly, a top martial artist is no longer something that the void realm can withstand. Only the endless starry sky can. Chapter 373. On the other side, Jiang Chongkong arrived in front of the barrier. His soul Tao penetrated the barrier. Wherever his soul power passed, the cultivators inside were dumbfounded. They pressed some buttons. The extreme Yin barrier silently opened. Jiang Chongkong entered the barrier and used the God-controlling art. He found two peak star bodies who had comprehended a bit of the Yin Great Tao. Both of them had the faces of young women. Of course, they were very old. Jiang Chongkong chose one at random and pointed at her forehead. Soul-searching secret art. He poured his soul power into it. He searched her soul first and then let the soul-stabilizing tree devour it. Then, a soul shadow left Jiang Chongkong and entered the woman's body. Soul incarnation. Then, he poured in the power of the Yin star and strengthened it with his great Tao, forcefully changing the woman's Yin great Tao. Jiang Chongkong used the 8 martial arts and poured in the power of the Yin great Tao. The woman's body couldn't bear it. He changed his mind and poured in the power of the Yin star. Crack! A sound came from the woman's body. Cracks appeared on it. He frowned. This way, he probably couldn't use this body more than a few times. Glancing at the other peak star body, Jiang Chongkong could only say sorry to the Nether Dragon. He should be able to use these 2 peak star bodies a few more times. The Nether Dragon should be satisfied with that woman. After pouring in the astral power, Jiang Chongkong took out a level 10 recovery potion he got from the Celestial Palace. The level 10 potion helped him recover his astral power quickly. 2 corpses were done. He left one in the interspatial ring as a backup. He poured his soul into it and put on the black robe. Then, he put on the ring and left. Jiang Chongkong raised his palm. Countless souls flew out. The roots of the soul-stabilizing tree spread and devoured all the souls. Rumble! In the distance, the space was collapsing. The Nether Dragon and the middle-aged woman were fighting. The Yin Great Tao and the corpse Tao of the Yellow Springs. The dense Tao aura collapse. The void couldn't bear it and the earth was melting. The water of the yellow springs splashed everywhere. Many wounds were branded on the nether dragon's body. The middle-aged woman also had a few wounds, but they were only minor. Roar. The nether dragon roared and a torrent of corpse energy surged. Mystic Moon Shenghua. The middle-aged woman shouted softly. The mystic moon sword chi carried boundless Taoist rhymes and diverted the corpse chi. The abyss dragon's expression changed, and the yellow springs enveloped him. Boom! Wherever the mystic moon sword chi passed, the yellow spring was diverted and the corpse chi melted. Danger loomed over it, and the abyss dragon quickly rolled away. However, its body was too big, and it could only avoid being hit in its vitals. A sword mark tore open the yellow spring's corpse path, and almost tore him apart. Evil creature, I just happened to lack a mount. If you obediently bow down, I'll spare your life. The middle-aged woman's expression was cold. The bright moon rose, and the power of Een filled the void. Old woman, you haven't seen my methods yet. The abyss dragon roared, and a gray pearl the size of a goose egg shot out. Corpse energy surged into the air. You can actually nurture a dragon ball? The middle-aged woman was startled, then overjoyed. This mount of yours is mine. The netherworld abyssal dragon was rare to begin with, and there might only be one in the void realm. Being able to nurture a dragon ball meant that he had achieved success and had unlimited potential in the future. Anyone would be tempted by a nether dragon with such potential. Die! The abyss dragon roared. The dragon ball carried a monstrous corpse energy, and the corpse Tao imprint released boundless Tao might. Sacred moon. The middle-aged woman spun her sword. With the support of the Een Great Tao, a sacred aura spread out, and it actually suppressed the corpse energy. Rumble. The sacred moon sword and the corpse Tao dragon ball clashed, and the void within a radius of 50 kilometers collapsed. Under the aftermath, the ground cracked, forming a 10,000-meter abyss. The huge dragon tumbled in the void, and sword marks covered its entire body. Silver blood splattered, and the middle-aged woman flew backward, shattering space. Her body cracked, and she gave off a thick corpse energy. The gray dragon ball flew back, and there was a crack on it. The abyss dragon's aura was weak, and it said with a ferocious expression, "Old woman, I said that I would devour you today. Evil creature." The woman's expression was cold. A bottle of silver-white medicine appeared, and she poured it into her mouth. The corpse energy in her body quickly dissipated, and her injuries healed quickly. Her aura surged, and the great Tao imprint appeared. Her strength was restored. The abyss dragon, damn it, she's cheating. Evil creature, I'll give you one last chance. The middle-aged woman had a proud expression as she looked down at the abyss dragon. Brother Chongkong, leave quickly. I can't hold on much longer, the abyss dragon shouted. The abyss dragon shouted loudly. It wanted to run, but now that it was heavily injured, it might not be able to escape. This Xing Dao was too shameless. He actually brought a top-grade medicine. Jiang Chongkong. The middle-aged woman's gaze was cold. The two of you together are really a pair of scourges. The abyss dragon roared in a low voice. The yellow springs gathered and corpse energy condensed. It was prepared to fight with its life on the line. Buzz. The void rippled, and Jiang Chongkong's figure appeared. He stood between the two of them, and looked at the middle-aged woman coldly. You should go down and accompany your people. A bunch of trash. If they die, so be it. But you, a star body tier cultivator, dare to come and die? The middle-aged woman's expression was cold, and the Tao of Een rose again. Today, I will kill the dragon and capture you. Brother Chongkong, I can delay a few moves. The abyss dragon was moved. Under such circumstances, Jiang Chongkong actually came. Brother dragon, rest. I'll kill her, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. The great Tao of power and the great Tao of soul appeared at the same time. The Taiji Yin Yang art balanced two kinds of power and three great celestial bodies. Or rather, it was one great celestial body and two great Daos now. No matter how many celestial bodies you have, you can't make up for the difference between us. The middle-aged woman shouted coldly, and her sword slashed down. Taiji returned to one. Jiang Chongkong raised his palm, and the black and white Taiji diagram wrapped around the two great Daos and shot out. Buzz! The great Tao of Yin trembled, and the Taiji diagram spun. However, it couldn't contain it, and could only deflect a portion of the power. The power of Taiji had yet to comprehend a great Tao. It was already a bit difficult for it to contain two great Tao. However, this was enough. A single great Tao couldn't compare to a star body tier cultivator, but with two great Taos complementing each other, it already surpassed the middle-aged woman. Boom! The palm landed, and the middle-aged woman flew out. Silver-white blood splattered, and a crack appeared on her body. How is this possible? Your strength is actually above mine? The middle-aged woman stood up and said in disbelief. The abyss dragon was also stunned. It was about to make a move, but in the end, Jiang Chongkong sent his opponent flying with one palm. Jiang Chongkong hadn't reached the star body tier yet, right? A high-level cultivator killing a top-tier star body tier cultivator? Taiji returned to one. Jiang Chongkong struck out again, and the black and white Taiji diagram descended with the two great Daos. Sacred Moon. The middle-aged woman's expression turned cold, and she used her ultimate technique again. Rumble! An invisible force shattered the void, and the woman was directly smashed into a spatial crack. Her body cracked, and silver-white blood flowed out. Jiang Chongkong, I'll remember you. The middle-aged woman finally accepted the fact that she wasn't Jiang Chongkong's match. Her body shone with silver light, and just as she was about to leave, the world suddenly darkened, and endless darkness enveloped her. An ancient six-story palace flew out, and a majestic suction force came over, directly swallowing the middle-aged woman. A six-story soul palace. Although there weren't many Tao runes left, the middle-aged woman wouldn't be able to walk out in a short time. This bit of time was enough for him to kill her. The power of Taiji returned to one poured into the six-story palace. Chapter 374. The Taoist rhyme of the Soul Palace had not dissipated yet. It was one of his trump cards. Activating the God-controlling art, he poured his soul power into the palace and activated the star maze array. Tai Chi merged into one and attacked the middle-aged woman. Dong dong! The six-story palace shook violently. Jiang Chongkong shrunk and entered the maze. He had already figured out this place. Even without the soul-stabilizing tree, Jiang Chongkong could go anywhere he wanted. On the sixth floor, silver-white blood kept flowing out of the middle-aged woman's body. She panted heavily and held her sword tightly. Jiang Chongkong. Seeing him, the middle-aged woman's face turned extremely cold. She slashed the Taiyin sword ray. Buzz! Soul Taoist rhyme rippled in the surroundings. The Taiyin sword ray reversed and stabbed at the woman. Jiang Chongkong slammed out with his palm. Tai Chi merged into one. Bang! Chi Chi! The palm landed and the woman flew out. The sword ray pierced through her body. You're really tenacious. You're not dead yet. Jiang Chongkong sighed lightly and struck out with another palm strike. The middle-aged woman's expression was cold, but she did not dare to attack again. She could only defend passively. Bang! She flew out again and merged into the endless darkness. Jiang Chongkong seemed to have expected this. He appeared behind her and slammed out again. Clang! The sword slashed out in time, but it hit the void. Fortunately, there was a layer of invisible force that blocked the sword. Gray air current and the patterns of the star array were hidden within. The middle-aged woman flew out again. Silver-white blood gushed out. What the hell is this place? Soul Maze. Jiang Chongkong said expressionlessly, You and I are so close but so far apart. Then how can you hurt me? Because I am the owner of this place. You are also a star path expert. Why are you so naive? Jiang Chongkong said indifferently and appeared behind the middle-aged woman. This maze is under my control. If he controlled the soul maze, he would be invincible unless he was much stronger. Those who were much stronger than him probably would not be trapped here for long. When he got close to the god treasure, many Taoist rhymes dissipated. Jiang Chongkong was not sure about the specifics, but a late-stage star path expert would not be trapped for long. He used his soul power to control the star maze formation. The soul-stabilizing tree swayed, helping him perfectly control the maze. If he wanted to, he could stand in front of the other party, and they wouldn't even be able to see him. Back then, the soul labyrinth was also a powerful top-grade weapon. Unfortunately, it fell into the hands of that bitch, Time. After several Tai Chi returned to one, the middle-aged woman finally couldn't take it anymore and exploded. While the body was still merging, Jiang Chongkong's palm landed a few more times. Jiang Chongkong, you have completely angered the Immortal Palace. Just wait for the Immortal Palace to hunt you down. The middle-aged woman's hair was disheveled, and her expression was cruel. Jiang Chongkong raised his hand and pressed it against the woman's forehead. Don't talk about things you can't see. Soul-searching secret art. A tyrannical soul power rushed into the woman's forehead and forcefully searched her soul. Dream on! The woman shouted in a low voice. The mark of the great path trembled, and the power of her soul exploded. Jiang Chongkong's expression was gloomy. He only had time to see this scene. Research Palace headquarters. He didn't know the specific location. He only knew that it was in a few mountains. After taking off the space equipment and the moon sword, Jiang Chongkong left the soul labyrinth with the corpse. Outside, the nether dragon was lying in front of the palace. Its body had shrunk and it looked inside. However, it couldn't see anything because it was pitch black inside. Don't look. Your corpse. Jiang Chongkong appeared and threw the corpse to it. After catching the corpse, the nether dragon hurriedly wrapped it in the water of the yellow springs and said excitedly, "Thank you, brother." Jiang Chongkong put away the soul labyrinth and brought the three of them to the stronghold. The nether dragon hurriedly followed. "I'll go into seclusion first. You guys do what you need to do." Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and asked them to collect the space equipment together. In order to rush back to save the nether dragon, he didn't collect the space equipment. The three of them quickly put away all the space equipment, and the four of them used the equipment to process the star crystals. The Immortal Palace is already on guard. If we go to the next stronghold, it will either be empty or guarded by a stronger force. Liang Qiushhuani processed the star crystals and said calmly, "You destroyed a few strongholds of the Immortal Palace. The people of the Immortal Palace will probably come here." Feng Xiaoye also said. Feng Qixing nodded. "I think we shouldn't stay here. It's better to take the equipment away." Jiang Chongkong pondered for a moment and said, "Okay, Brother Dragon, don't go into seclusion first. Let's go somewhere else." The nether dragon flew out. "Brother Kong, what's there to be afraid of if we work together? Don't you have that palace?" Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. "What if the Immortal Palace sends a mid-stage star path? When I step into the star path, I'll take you to kill everyone. How about it?" The nether dragon thought for a moment and nodded. "Then let's go." As he spoke, the water of the yellow springs covered all the corpses and disintegrated them. The four of them and the dragon left the stronghold and found a deserted place to stop. While the nether dragon was in seclusion, they could process the star crystals. As usual, they gave some 7th-grade star crystals to Liang Qiushhuani. Jiang Chongkong calculated his essence, qi, and spirit. This time, he had gained more than 200 million. He could perfect a martial art again. A day passed. All the star crystals were dealt with. The nether dragon also came out of seclusion. Its injuries had recovered and it had improved a lot. Jiang Chongkong borrowed its treasure. This time, he perfected the Taiji Yin Yang art. His strength increased again. Unfortunately, he still did not know how to comprehend the Taiji Dao. There was no shortcut. Jiang Chongkong had no choice. Where are we going next? The nether dragon lay on the ground and looked at Jiang Chongkong. I don't care about ordinary star path. I'm just worried that it will be stronger. Jiang Chongkong pondered and said, We definitely have to go to the Immortal Palace's stronghold. However, I'll make the first move this time. If there are any accidents, we'll leave immediately. I'll listen to you. The nether dragon started to have an idea. He could not do whatever he wanted even if he broke through to the star path. He had to take revenge for the humiliation he suffered in the past. He had to work hard and cultivate. Now, he pinned his hopes on this brother Kong. Feng Qixing, lead the way. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. As he spoke, he took out the Tai Yin sword and threw it on the ground. What are you doing? This is a level 10 weapon, the Tai Yin sword. The group of people felt their hearts ache. He threw it away just like that? The nether dragon was also very puzzled. This is a star path weapon. You're too wasteful. Let's go. Someone will come to get it later. I didn't really throw it away. Jiang Chongkong brought them and merged with the world. Someone will come to get it? Who? The nether dragon asked curiously. Liang Qiuxuani's expression changed. Jiang Changyue is here? Yes, he's here. This weapon is prepared for him. Jiang Chongkong nodded. Next, he would let Jiang Changyue do it. It was a corpse anyway. If it was destroyed, he could just change it to another one. Who is Jiang Changyue? The nether dragon was a little confused. His life and death brother. He's not weaker than him. The nether dragon. It's fine that I recognize a little brother. He's stronger than me, but there's another that's just as strong? In the next moment, the nether dragon said in surprise, I sensed it. It's the power of Yin. However, it shouldn't be as strong as you. Jiang Chongkong did not answer him. They had arrived at the Immortal Palace's new stronghold. He was not in a hurry to reveal himself. Instead, Jiang Changyue went over first to take a look at the situation. Chapter 375. 4 people and 1 dragon hid in the void and did not get too close. Jiang Changyue, who was dressed in black, headed toward the stronghold. The shadow barrier flashed, and a martial artist shouted with a cold expression, Who are you? Stop. Jiang Changyue stopped, and a shadow sword appeared in her hand. She spoke in a weak female voice, Lord has fallen. I ran back with all my might to inform you. What, Lord has fallen? The martial artist's expression changed. The other martial artists were shocked and gathered. Show us your true face. Let us see who you are. A middle-aged martial artist walked out and said coldly. Jiang Changyue was silent for a moment. Then, she slowly took off her clothes and hat, revealing a face full of scars. Did you see clearly? The martial artists were shocked. A few timid ones even took 2 steps back. After covering her face again, Jiang Changyue became silent. Come in, Qiuyu. What is going on? Who did it? The shadow barrier opened, and the middle-aged martial artist hurried over. Jiang Chongkong, is there a star path lord here? Jiang Changyue asked. Jiang Chongkong. A cold voice was heard. A young man walked out of the house and stared at her. You said that Jiang Chongkong did it? It was Jiang Chongkong and his men. He has a dark dragon with him, and it has already reached the star path realm. Jiang Changyue said angrily, Lord died in the hands of that dark dragon. That dark dragon from Yellow Springs? It actually achieved the Star Dao, and it even hangs out with Jiang Chongkong? The martial artists were shocked. No wonder Jiang Chongkong could destroy a few strongholds. He had the help of Yellow Springs' dark dragon. Do you know where Jiang Chongkong went? The young man asked. The Sun Daoist rhyme around him was thick. Jiang Changyue shook her head. I don't know. The situation was chaotic. I was lucky to escape. Rest well. If Jiang Chongkong dares to come, I will kill him, Puchi. Before he could finish his words, Jiang Changyue suddenly raised her sword and pierced through his body. The soundless sword was extremely fast, and the young man was caught off guard. The tyrant saber Dao and the moon great Dao entered his body at the same time. You deserve to die. The young man let out a furious roar, and the ferocious power of the sun was unleashed. Damn it, how dare you betray the celestial palace! The surrounding martial artists shouted angrily and released their mighty star power. Rumble! The shadow barrier trembled fiercely. A netherworld dragon and a palm strike tore the barrier apart. The water of the yellow springs flowed backwards, rushing into this place. Jiang Chongkong, the netherworld dragon? The group of martial artists had no time to deal with Jiang Changyue. They hurried to defend themselves with star power. However, after the abyss dragon stepped into the star path, the power of the yellow springs also multiplied. If one did not step into the star path, there was no way to block it. Even a cultivator who had comprehended a trace of the great Tao could only resist for a moment. How dare you! The young man was shocked and angry. The power of the sun surged out, and powder flew out of his body. It was his internal organs that had been shattered by the tyrant saber and the moon great Tao. Come on! Jiang Chongkong opened another 6-story palace and forcefully pulled the young man into it. Go in. Jiang Chongkong entered the 6-story maze with the netherworld dragon. Rumble! As soon as they entered, they felt the raging power of the sun. The Tai Chi fusion suddenly fell. Boom! The two palms collided and the great Tao intertwined. The two were pushed back at the same time. How powerful! My sneak attack didn't do much damage to you. Jiang Chongkong's expression froze. His Tai Chi fusion could only be on par with this person. You're really surprising. You've grown so much in such a short time. The young man glanced at the netherworld dragon and then at Jiang Chongkong. Do you think you can take me down? You'll know once you try. Jiang Chongkong snorted and raised his palm again. The Tai Chi fusion. Roar. The netherworld dragon roared and spat out corpse energy toward the young man. Die. The young man snorted and slashed at Jiang Chongkong with his sun sword. At the same time, he raised his palm to attack the netherworld dragon. Buzz. In the endless darkness, the soul star array appeared again, and the Tao flowed. Clang. The sun sword slashed down, but it hit the void. The palm energy also hit the void. There seemed to be two hidden walls in the darkness, blocking all of his power. Boom. The palm energy and corpse energy landed on the young man at the same time. Golden blood splattered. The young man flew out with a gloomy expression. I can't do anything to you outside, but you're dead here. Jiang Chongkong snorted and raised his palm again. The netherworld dragon roared and charged at the young man. My brother is too powerful. This is another star path cultivator, and he's much stronger than the moon star path cultivator. Outside, Jiang Changyue used his sword as a saber. The moon great Tao and the tyrant saber were unharmed on the surface, but the insides were turned to dust. Thinking of the netherworld dragon, he still held back. He only destroyed its life force and didn't turn it into dust again. A few cultivators who comprehended a trace of a great Tao couldn't block a saber light. Everywhere the sword passed, the tyrant's saber swept down and life force was destroyed. Soon, Feng Qixing and Liang Qiushuani also came to help. Seeing that they lost Jiang Chongkong's strength, they felt that the netherworld dragon was right. Jiang Changyue was not as good as Jiang Chongkong. The battle on the 6th floor of the maze was still starting. The young man was very sullen. His attacks couldn't hit the dragon and the human at all, and Jiang Chongkong's strength was similar to his. Every attack could injure him. The netherworld dragon was ruthless enough. He took out his dragon pearl again. This time, the yellow springs also poured into the dragon pearl. It formed a grayish-yellow dragon pearl, similar to the one given to Jiang Chongkong. Boom! Golden blood splattered. The young man was severely injured. His star power kept erupting and the sun great Tao shook. The soul formation kept activating. Jiang Changkong paid attention to the soul Dao runes. After this, he could almost retire. The dragon pearl smashed over and created a bloody hole. Jiang Changkong's palm landed, and the sound of bones cracking rang out. The netherworld dragon roared. Its dragon claws pressed down on the young man and tore. Golden blood splattered, and his arm was sent flying. The ferocious netherworld dragon opened its mouth and spewed out boundless corpse energy again. Despite the intense pain, the young man was still calm. He slashed at the netherworld dragon with his sun sword. Clang! Jiang Changkong's palm landed on the sun sword. The terrifying power sent the sword flying. Stop struggling. You won't live. Jiang Changkong shouted coldly and landed his palm force again. It was a completely unfair fight. The young man kept erupting with the Sun Great Tao and his star power, but he couldn't change anything. The sun flame dimmed. Scalding golden blood dripped, and his aura became weaker and weaker. The corpse energy enveloped him and corroded his body, opening the door to death for him. Bang! As the young man fell, the battle came to an end. Jiang Changkong picked up the sun sword and used the holy sun art. Sunset blade. The dense sun great Tao and the sunset pierced through his body and nailed him to the ground. Although it had a lot of resistance against the same element, the sunset blade still had soul power. The extremely weak young man looked at the sword that pierced through his body. He didn't have the strength to resist anymore. Jiang Changkong pressed down on the young man and used the soul-searching secret art again. Scenes flashed. The next moment, with a bang, his soul exploded into countless pieces. The soul-stabilizing tree's roots flew out and absorbed the exploded soul power. The netherworld dragon hurriedly dodged to the side. Chapter 376. Abyss Dragon was also a soul body, so it was afraid of the soul-stabilizing tree. Of course, Abyss Dragon also had a body, which was Yellow Spring. However, having a body did not mean it was unafraid. Few with a soul were not afraid of the soul-stabilizing tree. Jiang Changkong put away the soul-stabilizing tree and the young man's spatial equipment, then gave the corpse to Abyss Dragon. He was not in a hurry to leave, and he organized the memories he had just found. There were not many fragments, but they were related to the Star Path realm. There were also the Immortal Palace's arrangements here, as well as a ruin. The Immortal Palace was already furious, and sent many Star Path martial artists over to guard the stronghold. There was also a small team searching for them everywhere. There was no lack of peak early-stage Star Path and mid-stage Star Path. As for the late-stage Star Path, they were guarding the research palace and would not come out easily. This young man's strength was considered a powerhouse in the early-stage Star Path, and he was still some distance from the limit. The Star Path realm carried the Star Path Great Tao. The early-stage Star Path could at most carry 10% of the Great Tao, and 10% was the limit. The mid-stage Star Path could carry 40%, and that was the limit. The late-stage Star Path could carry 70%, and that was the limit. The peak Star Path could carry 100% of the Great Tao, and one could break through to the Star Sage realm. This young man was still a bit away from the limit. Jiang Changkong had some understanding of his and Abyss Dragon's strength. The current Abyss Dragon could only carry half of the Great Tao, and it was still far from the limit. Jiang Changkong pointed his finger and transmitted the information to the Netherworld Dragon. Abyss Dragon quickly digested the information and understood its current realm. So, I am just a weakling in the Star Path? Jiang Changkong sighed softly. You finally have some idea. Abyss Dragon. It did not have any inheritance, and it relied on treasures to comprehend the corpse path, so how would it know how the Star Path realm was divided? Brother Kong, did you think I was nothing from the beginning? Abyss Dragon looked at him seriously. Jiang Changkong was silent for a moment, then said, You can't say that. I just didn't expect you to have no idea at all. How did you cultivate before? Have you never come into contact with martial arts manuals and don't know how to divide? I know a little, but the Void Realm can be easily shattered by star path. The ones I've seen before were only at the early stage of star path. The Abyss Dragon sighed and said, I thought I was invincible after stepping into the star path. I should really thank you for not knowing how to control yourself. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have dared to reveal the treasure to me. Work hard in your cultivation. Look, it hasn't been long, and you already have a second star path corp. Jiang Changkong smiled and said, in the future, when we become near gods, we will be able to dominate the entire universe. Alright. The Abyss Dragon looked excited. Then we'll conquer the Void Realm after we reach the peak of Star Path. Jiang Changkong, what kind of grudge do you have against the Void Realm? You want to flatten the Void Realm for no reason? How are we humans going to develop in the future? The resources on Earth were not enough for human development. High-level warriors had to come to the Void Realm to develop themselves. If the Void Realm was gone, the group of star embryo martial artists would have no choice but to go on an expedition to the stars. Pack up. Let's go. Jiang Changkong led him away. It was difficult to communicate with this stupid dragon. During this period of time, he would slowly teach it so that it wouldn't be killed one day. After exiting the six-story maze, Jiang Changkong felt a little heartache. There's only a little bit of Dao aura left. It's obviously not enough to deal with the next star path martial artist. Jiang Changkong sighed. Dao aura. The Abyss Dragon blinked, a little confused. It's this Dao aura. I call it Dao aura, and the Dao imprint, I call it Dao pattern. Jiang Changkong explained. It's appropriate. We'll call it that from now on. The Abyss Dragon agreed. Hurry up and pack up and leave. Jiang Changkong did not say anything else and urged. Liangqiu Xuani and the other two had already packed up their spatial equipment and equipment. Jiang Changyue has left. Then let's go. 4 people and 1 dragon left the Immortal Palace stronghold. They found a deserted place and stopped. The Abyss Dragon went into seclusion while they dealt with the star crystals. The harvest this time was also very big, more than 200 million. Including the previous ones, he still needed tens of millions to perfect the 2 martial arts. This time, he planned to perfect the soul-reigning art. He could only wait for the remaining 4 martial arts. We met another star path martial artist. Changkong, what do you plan to do next? Liangqiu Xuani asked. It was obviously not possible to continue killing like this. 2 star path martial artists had fallen in a row. No matter how stupid the Immortal Palace was, they would send stronger ones or retreat. Jiang Changkong frowned. I don't plan to attack the Immortal Palace for now. If we continue like this, we'll be walking into a trap. Feng Qixing remained silent. Feng Xiaoye rolled her eyes and said, We can go to Star City. Star City? What's that place? Jiang Changkong said with interest. Cough cough. Feng Qixing coughed violently and glared at Feng Xiaoye. Feng Xiaoye shrunk her head and kept quiet. Jiang Changkong raised his hand. My soul-searching art is getting a little impatient. Feng Qixing's face twitched. He could only explain, Star City is a market in the depths of the Void Realm. Various forces trade and communicate there. People from the Immortal Palace will also go there. However, they're not very popular and rarely go. Those bastards from the Immortal Palace are not popular anywhere, Jiang Changkong said indifferently. Outsiders are not welcome, Feng Qixing said softly. Jiang Changkong said indifferently, It's fine as long as you're popular. Tell me about the specific situation in Star City. The rulers of Star City are a group of Star Demon. There are the most Star Demon there, and there are mid-stage Star Path martial artists overseeing it. Martial arts were prohibited in the Star City, and one could use star crystals to trade or barter. Some of the things found in the ruins can be exchanged for what you need in Star City if you don't need them. Feng Qixing explained, including the specific location of Star City. The Star Remnant citizens often went to Star City to exchange for things. Star City usually only had the Star Remnant citizens and the Star Demon. It was not easy for people from the Immortal Palace to enter. Neither side would leak information.
So you're saying that you have a good relationship with the Star Demon?
Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. No, we're just keeping the secret together. We don't want to be exposed, and neither does the Star Demon. Feng Qixing explained, the Star Demon has its own route and its own secrets. Jiang Chongkong nodded. They were all creatures that fell from the starry sky and were born and raised in the void. Even if the two sides did not know the details of these Star Remnant citizens and the starry sky, they definitely had a good understanding of each other. If the Star Demon could betray the secrets of the Star Remnant citizens, then the Star Remnant citizens could betray them. Both sides had a tacit agreement to keep the secret for a long time. In that case, Star City is of no help to me. I have nothing to exchange. Jiang Chongkong said indifferently, I'm only interested in killing the Star Demon. I'll go kill the Star Demon later.
Are you really planning to provoke everything in the depths of the void?
Feng Qixing sighed. You've provoked the Immortal Palace, and now you're going to provoke the Star Demon? Jiang Chongkong's expression was calm. Resources are fought for. If the Star Demon can occupy them, I can take them. Seeing that there were only 4 martial arts left before he could step into the Star Path, Jiang Chongkong naturally had to think of ways to get his essence, qi, and spirit. He couldn't think about the Immortal Palace for now, so he could only find the Star Demon to ask for some star crystals. He had to step into the Star Path as soon as possible. When the Soul Martial Path was close to godhood, he would tell him how to obtain the golden substance. Chapter 377. Jiang Chongkong. Star Summit High-Tier High-Grade Martial Art. 3-foot golden body. Perfect 171.5/171.5 Tai Chi Yin Yang Art. Consummate 171. 5 to 171. 5 million Domineering Blade. Perfect 1 to 171. 5 million Holy Sun Art. Perfected 1/171. 5 million God Governing Art. Perfected 171. 5/171. 5 million Bright Moon Art. Completed 171. 5/171. 5 White Cloud 9-Tier Sutra. Completed 1/171. 5 million High-Grade Middle-Grade Array Dao. Combat Body Star Formation. Incomplete Perfect 1 to 171. 5 million Essence, Energy and Spirit. 146628885. 4 With the help of the Abyss Dragon's treasure, Jiang Chongkong perfected another cultivation method. If he met the young man again, he should be able to beat him. The Abyss Dragon asked anxiously, Brother Kong, where are we going? It couldn't wait any longer since its strength had improved once again. Kill the Star Demon. Hasn't the Star Demon bullied you before? Jiang Chongkong asked. With treasures, the Abyss Dragon was the only one who could keep up with him in terms of leveling up. Of course, by the time he gathered enough essence, qi, and spirit, he would definitely not be able to keep up. Once he stepped into the Star Dao, his strength would undergo a tremendous change. At that time, even if he was not invincible in the Void Realm, he would still be able to obtain a lot of resources. I've killed all the ones I could find. The rest are the ones I can't find. The Underworld Dragon shook his head and said, Only those from the Celestial Palace have not been killed. Right, there are a few others, but I don't know who they are. Feng Qixing's expression changed slightly. Many people had bullied the Underworld Dragon before. Many of the remnant space natives had bullied it. Once this fellow saw it, Jiang Chongkong would definitely be happy to give him more star crystals. Jiang Chongkong noticed Feng Qixing's expression, but he didn't care. Then let's just follow a line and kill our way over. Which line? It's in the southeast. I searched his soul and learned that the people of the Immortal Palace found a relic. Let's go there directly. Jiang Chongkong said as he recalled the scene in his mind. In that historical remnant, Immortal Palace had sent several Star Path martial artists, among which there were peak initial stage star path. Now that he was facing a peak early stage star Tao expert, Jiang Chongkong was confident that he could retreat, but he wasn't confident that he could win. The Tao rhythm of the 6th floor palace was about to run out and it couldn't trap star path martial artists anymore. It would be very difficult to kill star path martial artists. Let's just go find the ruins. Killing the star demon is just a waste of time. The abyss dragon could not understand. If it was a remnant, it was very likely that there would be corpses of peak cultivators, allowing it to improve quickly. The ruins haven't opened yet. There's no point in going too early. We should kill more star demon. Every bit of strength we can gain is a bit of strength. Once Jiang Chongkong finished speaking, the abyss dragon did not say anything else. However, after experiencing the rapid growth brought by the corpses of star path martial artists, it started to look down on star realm martial artists. Jiang Chongkong didn't think much of it either. Normally, a star demon could obtain a few million points of essence, energy, and spirit. Only the star demon, who had comprehended the great Tao at the peak of the star realm, had more than 10 million in savings. For example, a research settlement could earn 200 million or close to 200 million at a time. That was a huge income. But he had no choice. The current situation didn't allow him to be picky. The 4 humans and 1 dragon went straight for the star realm star demon, completely ignoring the astral ones. When the yellow springs passed through, there was no longer any vitality left. The star demon completely merged into the yellow springs. Jiang Chongkong followed behind to pick up the star crystals. He also let him keep the star stones. Now that he had the equipment, the star stones could also be processed. Feng Qixing and Feng Xiaoya merged with heaven and earth, and did not show themselves. They were members of the Void Realm after all. If they were seen by other star demon, it would cause a lot of trouble for the Wind lineage. Although the star remnants would also kill the star demon, they would not go on such a wanton killing spree. That was equivalent to starting a war. The abyss dragon killed extremely quickly. Jiang Chongkong swept with his soul power and gathered all the star stones and star crystals. The spatial equipment was also put away. Finally, Jiang Chongkong took out the equipment and processed the star crystals and star stones as he hurried along. Half a day later, they had already pushed for tens of thousands of miles and gained a lot of star crystals and star stones. Jiang Chongkong calculated. Including the previous ones, he had gathered the required amount for a martial art to perfection. He was not in a hurry to improve and continued to push forward. Liang Qiushhuani paused for a moment and took out a blue bead. She said calmly, "My master contacted me." "What did he want you to do?" Jiang Chongkong asked. "He wants you to continue destroying the Celestial Palace's stronghold," Liang Qiushhuani said. "Then tell him that I'm not interested in listening to him," Jiang Chongkong said coldly. Liang Qiushhuani said calmly, "My master promised to get you the power vein, the research materials of the moon and sun star powers, and the early stage star saint. They will be destroyed in the future, not now." Jiang Chongkong refused decisively. He would naturally have the power vein if he upgraded himself. He did not lack it. He had plenty of the moon star formation in his mind. Although he needed the sun star formation, he would not take too big of a risk. If it were not for the fact that upgrading was too slow and required too much essence, qi, and spirit, he would have upgraded himself. Liang Qiushhuani was silent for a moment. Then, she said, "I rejected master." Jiang Chongkong responded softly and did not say anything else. In the blink of an eye, 10 days later, the 4 humans and 1 dragon arrived at the depths of the Void Realm. Jiang Chongkong stopped. He had gathered enough essence, qi, and spirit for 2 martial arts. He was close to the ruin. "Brother Dragon, I'll be in seclusion for a few hours. Don't move forward. Be careful and hide to avoid being discovered." "All right." The abyss dragon nodded and led him into the distance. Apart from Jiang Chongkong, It did not want anyone else to know about the treasure. Jiang Chongkong sat cross-legged by himself and let the golden light shine on him. The Tao patterns in his body became active. Perfected Holy Sun Art, Tyrant Blade. 2 martial arts were perfected, and the power in his body increased again. The stars were densely covered with star array patterns. His Holy Sun Tao pattern and Tyrant Blade Tao pattern had also become stronger. With his current strength, as long as he hid well, he should be able to obtain great benefits in the ruin. Jiang Chongkong. Star Pinnacle High Tier Superior Martial Art, 3-foot Golden Body, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 Taiji Yin Yang Art, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 Tyrant Blade, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 Holy Sun Art, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 God Governing Art, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 Bright Moon Art, perfected 171. 5,000,000/171. 5,000,000 White Cloud 9-Tier Sutra, perfected 1/171. 5,000,000 High-Tier Medial Grade Array Tao, Battle Physique Star Formation, Incomplete perfected 1/171. 5,000,000 Essence, Spirit and Energy, 1332885. 4-inch perfected 1 martial art in 10 days with some left over. The depths of the Void Realm is really a good place. Jiang Chongkong muttered to himself. When the historical remains came out, or if there was still a period of time before the historical remains opened, he would kill the star demons and step into the star Tao. After stabilizing his cultivation, Jiang Chongkong kept the treasure and returned it to the Abyss Dragon. Feng Xiaoye and Feng Qixing sat on the spot with a bitter expression. "Let's go. Don't go to the ruin." "What's wrong?" Jiang Chongkong frowned. The two pointed at Liangqiu Xuani. Liangqiu Xuani took out the azure pearl. "My master won't let us go. Otherwise, she will tell the Immortal Palace where we are." "She knows where we are? You said that?" Jiang Chongkong's expression turned cold. Liangqiu Xuani shook her head. "Master can locate this pearl. Then let her say it. We can also tell the Immortal Palace that she's a traitor." Jiang Chongkong sneered. "Chongkong, don't be impulsive. Without the Immortal Palace, you'll lose a lot of benefit." Liangqiu Xuani hurriedly advised. "Master did use you, but didn't you also gain a lot?" Jiang Chongkong pondered and said, "All right, we'll go our separate ways here. The 3 of you leave with this pearl. I'll go to the ruin with Brother Dragon. Chongkong, you, stop talking. I'll return your freedom. Don't make me do it." Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and merged with heaven and earth with them. When he appeared again, he was already tens of thousands of miles away. He left the 3 of them behind and returned to where he was. The Abyss Dragon was still waiting for him. "You've finally abandoned these ants," the Abyss Dragon said with a hint of joy. "I've wanted to stop bringing them with me for a long time. They're still useful. They can help me deal with the star crystals." After saying that, Jiang Chongkong looked ahead and said, "Let's go. The 2 of us will go see what's in the ruin. You still won't let me go." Chapter 378. Abandoning Liangqiu Xuani also made it impossible for Lin Suyun to know his location. If he had known about this, he would have abandoned Liangqiu Xuani a long time ago. On the other hand, he was very curious about the ruins. What did they not want him to know? The man and the dragon were ready to go. The Nether Dragon said in a low voice, "Why don't you kill them? She will spread the news about us." "Don't worry. Part of my soul power is with them," Jiang Chongkong said with a wave of his hand. He was getting more and more proficient in using soul secret technique. He also arranged for Jiang Changyue to stay with Liangqiu Xuani. She could monitor them from afar and use soul-killing sound to kill people from thousands of miles away. If he kept them alive, he could use his soul power to pry into the secrets of those people. The Nether Dragon said no more and went to the ruins with him. 4 cultivators sat cross-legged on a mountain peak, surrounded by rich Taoist rhymes. The man and the dragon looked at them from afar with serious expressions. 4 star path cultivators. One of them was at the peak of the early stage of the star path. Is it not done yet? One of the cultivators opened his eyes and frowned. Suyun is a little weak. Let's wait a little longer. Let's wait patiently. Suyun is the one who is anxious. This concerns her. The 3 cultivators said with a smile. The man and the dragon carefully circled around the mountain peak and found a woman drawing a star formation with her Taoist rhymes. While drawing, the woman held a blue pearl in her hand and said, "You guys left." She could sense that Liangqiu Xuani and the others had gone far away. This made her heave a sigh of relief. This matter had to be foolproof. No one was allowed to ruin it. The people from the Immortal Palace were helping her get the treasure. She didn't want to see Jiang Chongkong and Netherworld Dragon, these 2 bastards. She wanted to let Jiang Chongkong continue to destroy the Immortal Palace's stronghold to attract attention and not cause trouble. However, Jiang Chongkong did not listen to her at all. Now that the pearl had left, it seemed that Jiang Chongkong could not refuse to study the information. On the other side, Liangqiu Xuani looked at the blue pearl and fell silent. Jiang Chongkong must have gone over. Should I tell the truth? If he didn't say anything, he didn't know what would happen. However, if he did, his master would definitely deal with Jiang Chongkong first before entering the relic. "Xuani, what's wrong with you? Aren't you going to reply?" Lin Suyun's voice was cold. Liangqiu Xuani was startled awake. She quickly replied, "Master, we have left. Jiang Chongkong knows that going to the Immortal Palace's stronghold now is very dangerous, so he changed to Star City." "Alright, keep Jiang Chongkong in check. Don't let him set his eyes on the relic." Satisfied, Lin Suyun ended the call and continued to set up the formation. Jiang Chongkong, who was hidden in the void, had a faint smile on his face. He had heard everything. Was Liangqiu Xuani suspicious of her master? The previous conversation had ultimately caused Liangqiu Xuani to feel a trace of suspicion. If her grandfather was really killed by Lin Suyun, she would likely hate him to death. If Lin Suyun was so capable, why didn't she save her grandfather? The human and dragon continued to hide while Lin Suyun continued to draw the array. The star array was huge, nearly covering the entire mountain peak. Furthermore, Dao runes were left behind on every path. Lin Suyun's strength should have just broken through to the star path not long ago, about the same as the Abyss Dragon. Setting up this array was somewhat strenuous. However, she was the only water-attributed cultivator in the group. Every time she drew a few paths, she had to consume a bottle of medicine to recover her Dao runes. "Brother Kong, can you tell the grade of this woman's array?" The Abyss Dragon asked via voice projection. Jiang Chongkong shook his head. "I'm not sure yet. When she is almost done, I should be able to tell from the might of this star array." Xiao Chen now had the Lunar Battle Body star array, the Soul Inheritance, and all sorts of star path array formations. Hence, he had a good understanding of peak array formations. When the array was almost done, he would be able to judge based on its might. A blue light blossomed in the sky, and a dense Dao rune spread out. It was extremely gentle, not damaging a single blade of grass or tree. Buzz! The sky in the distance suddenly fluctuated, and 4 figures appeared. "It's here. Someone is setting up the array." A blue light flickered, and a woman's expression changed as she charged towards the mountain peak. "Stop in the land of the Immortal Palace." A cold snort sounded. 4 cultivators who were sitting cross-legged stood up and blocked the woman's path. "People of the Immortal Palace, leave this place." Dense golden light spread out, and the metal Dao rune suppressed the void. Lightning flashed, and thunder fell from the sky. 2 figures rode on the thunder and looked at the 4 people indifferently. Immortal Palace, get out of here. So, it's you guys. The Immortal Palace cultivators had cold expressions and eyes. We, the Immortal Palace, discovered this place first. If you want to fight, you can try. Let's try. Lightning flashed, and countless lightning snakes covered the void, turning the area within 100 miles into a sea of lightning. The two thunder-attributed star path cultivators were very powerful. Their Tao might spread out, and their tyrannical strength was no weaker than the peak of the early-stage star path. The four Immortal Palace cultivators did not show any weakness. Their Tao runes spread out, and golden light, the power of Yin, and the power of Yang filled the sky. Fight. It's best if you fight to the death, the Abyss Dragon said excitedly in the distance. If this group of people fought to the death, he and Jiang Chongkong could take advantage of it. We can't fight. The difference in strength between the two sides is not that big. Jiang Chongkong shook his head. As for Lin Suyun, although she was also a star path cultivator, it was the weakest one. With her, it would not be a problem for them to gain the upper hand, but it would be difficult to suppress them. As expected, the blue-haired woman said, "You four, if we fight, no one will benefit. We still don't know what is in this relic. What do you want?" The power of the sun star was dense, and the aura of the early-stage star path cultivators relaxed a little. How about we decide the winner after we see the thing? The blue water rippled, and the woman said indifferently, "As for inviting people, there is no need. There are many star paths in the Immortal Palace, and we have many friends." The four cultivators looked at each other and nodded slightly. "Okay, we will decide the winner after we enter the relic. In that case, I will help your companions set up the array." The woman chuckled and stepped into the mountain, and the three cultivators followed closely behind her. Lin Suyun had a cold look in her eyes, but she wore a smile on her face. "It is good to have your help. It is too difficult for me to set up this array alone. My name is Shui Qin. The Immortal Palace really has a deep foundation. There is actually someone who knows about the Heavenly Water Array." The woman smiled slightly, sketching the route of the star array. "I am not as good as you," Lin Suyun said indifferently. The two of them joined hands and set up the array together. Lines of the star array crisscrossed. The aura of the Great Path became denser and denser, and the Taoist rhymes became stronger. The two of them joined hands and set up the array faster. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. The Heavenly Water Array was set up, and the blue starlight rushed into the void. Blue ripples appeared in the void, and a huge Taoist might swept out, covering a radius of hundreds of miles. A blue vortex appeared in the center. "Let's go!" Lin Suyun shouted, and the four cultivators from the Immortal Palace came and entered the blue vortex with her. Shui Qin followed closely behind with the 3 star path cultivators. After all of them entered, Jiang Chongkong and the Netherworld Dragon sneakily followed them. Chapter 379. The blue seawater was boundless, and a wave of pressure pressed down. Jiang Chongkong's Tao rippled, and the pressure immediately dissipated. The seawater contained some Tao ripples. In front of them was a boundless seawater, and many fish were swimming in it. Jiang Chongkong also saw some turtles and lobsters. On Earth, these were all species that could only survive by breeding. "This is an ocean?" the dark dragon said in surprise. "I don't know where they went. Let's go forward first," Jiang Chongkong said in a low voice. He circulated his star power and immediately frowned. "There are water Tao ripples everywhere, and we can't merge with the world. Be careful." The dark dragon nodded solemnly. The 2 water elemental star Taos had an incomparable advantage here. The human and dragon quickly flew forward, and in the blink of an eye, they were already 10,000 miles away. His soul power scanned the seabed. There was mud, and there were many aquatic plants and fish. The strange thing was that these fish all had star power. Could they be considered monsters? His soul power didn't sense any traces of those people. Walala! A few miles away, the seawater rippled violently, and a huge creature swam in the sea. A dense Tao ripple came from that thing, and all the living creatures in the sea fled wherever its Tao power passed. Roar! A roar was heard, and the seawater within 10,000 miles rippled. Countless fish and prawns surged towards that huge creature. It was AF** king whale. Jiang Changkong's expression changed. A powerful suction force came, and he quickly retreated with the dark dragon. This was a star Tao-level whale. Although it wasn't as powerful as the dark dragon, it wasn't much weaker. The human and dragon didn't waste time with this thing, and the human and dragon quickly left. Rumble! A shocking sound came from afar. Lightning flashed, and lightning snakes swam in the water. Countless fish and prawns died. Under the Tao power, the seawater split apart. Golden sword auras shot out in all directions. Roar! The roar sounded again. 3 huge creatures stirred the seawater and spewed out water pillars. The powerful star power rushed towards the 4 of them with endless Tao power. Shui Qin entered the sea and dodged the whale's attack. This place is a bit scary. The dark dragon mumbled. Another 3 whales, and all of them were star Tao level. Jiang Changkong's expression darkened. Let's just follow behind them. Don't be rash. The dark dragon quickly nodded. I understand. When I reach the peak of the star path, I'll sweep through the void realm. Jiang Changkong, can you not bring this up? Just how much of a grudge do you have against the void realm? Ignoring the abyss dragon, Jiang Changkong continued to watch the battle. Although the 3 whales were powerful, the 4 cosmic remnants were even more powerful. The lightning condensed into a spear, destroying everything in its path. The golden sword projection parted the seawater and struck the whale's body. Roar! The whale roared. The seawater gathered and turned into a harpoon that emitted boundless Tao rhymes. Boom! A terrifying aftershock spread out, and Jiang Changkong and the abyss dragon quickly retreated to avoid being affected. The seawater surged, blue blood dripped, and the 3 whales tumbled away. Shui Qin's expression turned grave as she used the water great Tao to stabilize the surrounding seawater. The 3 of you be careful. These beasts actually know martial technique. It's fine. They're just 3 beasts. They don't understand human nature. Even if they know martial techniques, there's nothing to worry about. The lightning dancer, who was at the peak of the early stage of the star path, shouted coldly, and a spear surrounded by lightning appeared in his hand. Heaven's wrath lightning execution. The lightning destroyed everything, and the might of the Tao suppressed everything. The spear fell, mobilizing the lightning great Tao. Star fall. Golden light soared into the sky, and a golden sword tore through everything. It carried the metal great Tao and was incomparably sharp. The other lightning dancer and Shui Qin attacked at the same time. Roar! The Tao might of the 3 whales became denser, and they combined into a huge trident. Boom! Blood splattered, and the trident collapsed. However, there was still a ray of light that penetrated the body of the metal meridian martial artist. The lightning spear pierced through the body of a whale, and the monstrous power of lightning poured into its body, destroying its vitality. The other lightning warrior only tore through the whale's defense and sliced off a large piece of flesh. Shui Qin's figure was like water. She dispersed the force and gathered it to tear apart the defense of the other whale. Sea God Trident. Could this be the remnant of the sea race? Shui Qin's eyes flickered with excitement. Back then, the sea race had a few near true gods. In the distant past, there was even a true immortal level sea god. The immortal god era has already passed. The remnant of the true gods is enough for us to digest for a long time. The 3 martial artists had excited expressions. These 3 beasts actually know the sea race's secret arts. There must be an inheritance of the sea race here. Kill! The 2 lightning warriors had excited expressions. With a roar, they charged at the 3 whales again. Shui Qin and the metal meridian martial artist quickly surrounded the 3 whales. The battle began. The power of lightning streaked across, continuously piercing through the bodies of the whales. Shui Qin controlled the water, and the damage she could do to the whales was minimal. However, she could help block the whales' attack. The resistance between cultivators of the same attribute was too great. If their strengths were about the same, without any special means, no one would be able to kill the other. Fortunately, the Lightning Warriors and Metal Meridian martial artists had great destructive power. The Metal Meridian martial artist unleashed his full power and tore the bodies of the whales apart. The 3-star path martial artists were all peak martial artists. In addition, one of them was at the peak initial stage of the star path. They were practically suppressing the 3 whales. As they were continuously injured, the 3 whales roared, and the surrounding seawater became turbulent. The dense might of the Tao of water actually gathered together and suppressed the opponents. Shui Qin hurried to use her star power, and a blue zither appeared in her hand, which was shining with azure light. The zither vibrated, and Tao patterns appeared. The star power that was infused with Tao rhyme swept in all directions. Wherever the zither music passed, the pressure of the Tao was weakened. However, with her strength, she could only weaken it by a third. Heavenly lightning descend. The 2 lightning warriors combined their strength and Tao rhyme, forcefully breaking the Tao of water. Lightning fell from the sky, killing the 3 whales. The Metal Meridian martial artist saw the opportunity. His golden light pierced through everything, and he attacked the whale that was the most heavily injured. Rumble! Amidst the endless lightning, the golden sword aura directly split a whale into 2. Endless sword aura sprinkled down, and together with the lightning, it killed the whale's body. As one whale died, the other 2 growled, turned around, and fled into the depth. Let's go. Shui Qin took the lead and chased into the distance. The 3 martial artists collected the whale's body and chased after her. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon quickly followed. They used their soul power to observe the surroundings, and they didn't see the Immortal Palace martial artist. What a pity that they took the body. The Abyss Dragon was a bit regretful. It wanted to take advantage of the situation. Don't worry about this. I'm more curious about what the sea race is, Jiang Chongkong said. The human and the dragon followed in secret, but they didn't dare to get too close. The Tao rhyme in the surrounding seawater also became denser. Jiang Chongkong's heart sank. The density of the Tao rhyme was enough to threaten an early-stage star path cultivator who had just broken through. He suddenly felt a bit worried. There might be whales at the peak early-stage star path, or even stronger. The Abyss Dragon didn't say a word. Its inheritance was incomplete, so it naturally didn't know about the sea race. Suddenly whale cries came from all directions. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed, and he quickly pulled the Abyss Dragon back. The 2 injured whales began to call for companions. Jiang Chongkong prayed in his heart that they could hold on. Chapter 380. The seawater stirred even more violently, and the Tao might in the surroundings intensified. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon shrank their bodies and sank into the seawater. Can you turn the seabed into underworld soil so that we can travel underground? Jiang Chongkong asked. The Abyss Dragon shook its head. No. The water great Tao here is too powerful. It is everywhere. I need half an hour to transform a little. Forget it. Let's watch first. These remnant beings should have some special ability. If not, we can take the opportunity to go around them. Jiang Chongkong suggested. The underworld soil method would not work. They could only rely on their own methods or take the opportunity to go around. The Abyss Dragon nodded and retreated with him. Soon, a group of huge whales surrounded them. The 3 cultivators had grave expressions. Shui Qin plucked the strings, and a strange sound rang out. Wherever the sound spread out, the whales stopped and slowly retreated. Ding dong! The strange sound turned crisp, and a blue light spread out, looking incredibly gentle. In the distance, Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon were also affected. When they touched this blue light, They felt comfortable, as if they were soaking in a hot spring. The injuries of the 2 whales that were injured earlier also quickly recovered because of this blue light. Roar! The whales cried out and turned to leave. The surroundings became empty again. Shui Qin put away her zither and heaved a long sigh. Her forehead was covered in sweat at some point. Your sea race's heavenly melody is getting better and better. The 3 martial artists praised aloud. I barely managed to execute it. This heavenly melody needs to be played with a great Tao to be effective. My water great Tao has only scratched the surface. Shui Qin sighed softly and said, let's go quickly. The 4 advanced again. This time, no whales made things difficult for them. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon quickly followed. These remnant beings really had many tricks up their sleeves. Using their own Tao patterns to play the heavenly melody could be considered the sound of a great Tao. After a quarter of an hour, the 4 of them stopped. The surroundings were completely empty and pitch black. The metal vein cultivator looked around and said, until now, we have not seen anyone from the ethereal immortal palace. Could they have been eaten by those beasts? Shui Qin closed her eyes, and a blue light spread out from her body. Not too long later, he opened his eyes and saw 5 figures in the distant darkness. None of you were eaten, so how could anything happen to us? Lin Suyun sneered. You really have some tricks up your sleeve. Even a group of star Tao level whales can't stop you. Aren't you all here as well? Shui Qin laughed coldly. Her might of the way emanated. Since we're all here, it's your turn. Are you sure that I can open the ruins? Lin Suyun's expression darkened. To be able to find this place, one must either be proficient in the sea race's secret techniques or have the sea race's keepsake. Shui Qin said coldly, with your strength, it's not enough to use the secret method. You must have a token with you. Please, the Thunderbolt martial artist said. Lin Suyun was silent for a moment. A blue pearl appeared in her hand, emitting misty water vapor. Buzz. As soon as the bead appeared, a strange wave spread out. Rumble. The seawater rippled and the bottom trembled. A huge object slowly rose from below. Silt rolled up and the seawater became muddy. It was chaos ahead. Roar. Low roars came from all directions, resounding throughout the entire sea. He just roared and didn't come over. Buzz. Beams of light bloomed. Thousands of blue lights shone through the turbidity, and the silt fell. Majestic way might radiated in all directions. The horrifying pressure made the 9 starry Tao cultivators sink at the same time. The blue light dissipated, but the way might remained. A huge blue barrier appeared in front of them. The crystal palace was filled with corals. It was colorful and beautiful. The sea race's royal palace. Shui Qin looked at the crystal palace with a tinge of excitement. Do you want to decide the victor here, or do you want to go in together? Lin Suyun's eyes flickered with killing intent. Do you think you can get through the sea race's trap? Shui Qin had a look of disdain. Without me, even if you have the sea race's keepsake, you won't be able to bring anything out. Lin Suyun held the blue pearl. All right, we'll cooperate for now. You go first. Shui Qin looked at the 3 beside her and nodded. She took the lead and entered the blue barrier. They stepped into the blue barrier and landed on the jade-like stone slabs on the ground. The 3 martial artists followed behind. Only then did Lin Suyun enter with her people. She came to the fore and asked, How do we go now? Shui Qin frowned. Her fingertip glowed with a blue light. She opened her mouth but did not make a sound. Lin Suyun and the others found it strange but did not stop her. As Shui Qin silently chanted, her fingertip glowed brightly and flew out like a spirit snake. The blue light danced on the ground and moved forward. Follow closely. One wrong step and your life has nothing to do with me. After Shui Qin finished speaking, she moved forward along the blue light. The 3 behind her were careful, not daring to make any mistakes. Lin Suyun and the others followed closely without a wrong step. The 9 soon arrived at the coral forest. The blue light continued moving forward. Buzz. In the coral forest, a black shadow flashed. What is that? Lin Suyun's expression changed slightly. The other martial artists were also very cautious. They did not see what that black shadow was. Don't make a mistake. One wrong step and you'll know what it is. Shui Qin sneered. She could not be bothered to explain. Lin Suyun and the others frowned. The martial artist with lunar star power said coldly, "The token is in our hands. You better explain. Otherwise, even if you can enter, you will not be able to enter the palace." Shui Qin paused and said coldly, "Since you want to know, I will tell you. That is the guardian divine beast of the sea clan. It is a poisonous sea snake. Once bitten by a sea snake, there is no antidote." The five were shocked and became even more careful. Swoosh! In the coral forest, a green light flashed. They still did not see it clearly. Shui Qin did not explain and the others did not ask anymore. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon followed from afar. They remembered their route clearly. Jiang Chongkong said, "Be careful. These survivors will definitely not let the people from the Immortal Palace enter. They will find a way to kill them and get the token." The Abyss Dragon nodded. "I felt the aura of the corpse. The green light and black shadow were dead." The group continued forward. Soon, Shui Qin suddenly pulled the other three and sped up into the coral forest. "Don't move." Lin Suyun stopped and said coldly, "Shui Qin, if you want to play tricks, then we will not move. Without the token, it is useless for you to go." This place was full of danger. If they were not careful, they would be killed. If they chased after them, it might be a trap. It was better to wait here. We all remember the route. I will give you 3 seconds. If you do not come out, we will leave. The four martial artists said at the same time. They looked calm and did not panic at all. There was no response from the coral forest. "Let's go." Lin Suyun snorted and turned to leave. Boom! As soon as she took a step, the ground shook and the surrounding coral moved. A green light pounced at her. "The way to come in is different from the way to go out." Shui Qin's voice came from the coral forest. Swoosh! A golden light flashed and the green figure was sliced in half. A putrid stench spread out from it. Not good. It is poisonous. Chapter 381. The green light that was sliced apart was a huge frog, but it was humanoid. A frogman. The frogman was cut off, and the air was filled with a foul stench. Lin Suyun, who was closest to it, smelled it immediately. Her star power and Taoist connotation surged out at the same time to isolate the poisonous gas. The next moment, the poisonous gas attached to her star power, corroding her star power and Taoist connotation. "It's corpse poison." Lin Suyun's face glowed blue. The poison was terrifying. Swish! The air fluctuated, and a lot of blue lights rushed out from the coral forest. The three martial artists' faces changed. They immediately used their star power to sweep the frogman away. Croak! The frogman let out a cry, and a large amount of poisonous gas swept out. "This damn thing! Kill it!" "We can't kill it, nor can we push it out." The four martial artists from the Celestial Palace looked gloomy. Their star power was also being corroded. "Let's see if your token works," one of the martial artists said. Lin Suyun took out the blue bead and held it in her hand. The blue light on her face was immediately absorbed by the bead. The poisonous gas on her star power also entered the bead. "It's useful. Everyone, come to my side," Lin Suyun said hurriedly. The four martial artists from the Celestial Palace stepped forward. Buzz! Killing intent rose in the coral forest once more. Azure water arrows containing poisonous gas covered the sky and covered the earth as they shot over. "Primitive people from the Celestial Palace, this place has changed since you took one wrong step." Shui Qin's voice came from the coral forest again. "Damn it!" Lin Suyun snorted and raised the blue barrier to block the water arrows. The four martial artists also raised the star power barrier. Boom! The water arrows exploded, and the poisonous gas spread, corroding their star power and Taoist connotation. Lin Suyun was protected by the blue bead, so she wasn't affected. But the other four martial artists' star power and Taoist connotation were quickly dissipating. The water arrows kept falling. The four martial artists looked pale. Suyun, detoxify us. It would be fine if there was only a little bit of the poisonous gas. However, there were so many water arrows and endless poisonous gas. Their star force and Taoist runes would not be able to last long. Lin Suyun poured her star power into the blue bead, but it didn't work. Give me your hand. Let's hold it together. The azure pearl was only the size of a fist. The five of them could only touch it with their fingers. However, it was useless for them to hold the beads. Let me remind you, this bead can only protect one person, Shui Qin said. For a moment, the expressions of the five people from the Immortal Palace were extremely ugly. If it could only protect one person, how were they going to split it? Behind them, the shrunken Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon had calm expressions. A small thing like corpse poison was not scary at all. The Netherworld Abyssal Dragon was a pile of corpse toxins to begin with, so these were all nourishment for it. I have a serious suspicion that the Sea Tribe asked the Yellow Springs bloodline to build this place. The Nether Dragon greedily sucked in a mouthful of poisonous gas and transmitted his voice. Jiang Chongkong lay on top of him. It would be great if there was only corpse poison. We could just lie down. The Abyss Dragon narrowed its eyes in satisfaction. Let them go first. It will be a dogfight later. Boom. The sky was filled with water arrows, and there were still more water arrows coming, as if there was no end to them. Let's go into the coral forest. We can take turns using this thing, Lin Suyun suggested in a low voice. Okay, let's go and find Shui Qin and the other three. The four martial artists agreed and rushed into the coral forest. In this passage there was only poisonous gas. They could not last long with just one bead. Only by entering the coral forest would they have a chance of survival. What about us? Jiang Chongkong looked at the Nether Dragon. You are in charge here. Let's go in too. I will swallow as much corpse poison as there is. The Nether Dragon rushed into the coral forest with him. In the coral forest, azure light flashed, and frogmen moved in and out of the forest. The Nether Dragon grabbed one with its claws and melted the water of the Yellow Springs to strengthen itself. It did not forget to savor the taste. Not bad. Corpse poison with Dao is more delicious than ordinary corpses of the star path. Jiang Chongkong, can you stop showing off your appetite? He could not stand the Nether Dragon's taste. He looked carefully at the coral forest and saw that there were some fake mountains. Azure light and black shadows moved in the forest. Those black shadows were indeed sea snakes. They were also dead creatures that contained corpse poison. The Nether Dragon grabbed one. Brother Kong, do you want to try it? I think it tastes like chicken. You better not say that again. Jiang Chongkong's face darkened. We are not the same species. Don't use your heavy taste to measure me. This is a treasure land. The Nether Dragon looked forward with infatuation and swallowed several frogmen in one gulp. If you like it, stay here in the future. Don't go out. Jiang Chongkong said lightly. The Nether Dragon shook its head. I have not completed my feat of flattening the void realm. I can't stay here. Jiang Chongkong was speechless. He really did not know what to say to that guy. Don't eat first. The corpse poison here can take care of them. Jiang Chongkong stopped the Nether Dragon from continuing to eat. That guy actually wanted to grow bigger to eat. If he really let it eat, no matter how much food there was, it would not be enough. Okay, let's go find them. We have to get that token. The Nether Dragon led Jiang Chongkong and walked in the coral forest. Those were frogmen and sea snake. Although they were dead creatures, they knew to avoid the Nether Dragon. Climbing up a coral tree, the Nether Dragon looked around and found Lin Suyun and the others. Lin Suyun and the others temporarily stabilized the situation. In the end, a Star Path warrior held the bead and held up a barrier to protect the four of them. However, even with the azure bead in hand, those dead creatures still attacked them in a frenzy. More and more poisonous gas appeared, almost forming a thick fog that enveloped them. Lin Suyun, are you still holding on? Shui Qin's voice was full of ridicule. Only one of you can live. Even if you take turns to protect them, you will only delay the time of death. If I were you, I would take the bead, leave them, and enter the palace to get the treasure. Shut up. Lin Suyun's voice was cold. Don't let us find you, or we will kill you. Shui Qin sneered. You'd better think about your companions. Will they kill you and take the bead? Primitive people have a strong survival instinct. In order to survive, they will kill their companions. Moreover, there is the treasure of the sea race. The voice of the gold lineage warrior sounded. You want to mess with our minds with these words? Lin Suyun sneered. We feel bad, but you, who don't have the token, will feel bad too. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but these damn things will not attack us. Shui Qin's voice was full of pride. Soon, the bead would be hers. Beside her, there was also a azure bead floating in the air. However, this bead emitted a misty water vapor, and those dead creatures all retreated. She knew many secrets of the sea race, and her understanding of the bead's usage was far better than Lin Suyun's. Lin Suyun could only protect one person, while she could disperse the nearby dead creatures, so they did not dare to come close. Thinking of this, she stood up and was about to speak again when she suddenly felt a pain in her ankle. A gray snake was grabbing a black sea snake and biting its ankle. Shui Qin, what was going on? Didn't they say that they would not come close? Wasn't this gray sea snake going too far? Chapter 382. The corpse poison could corrode star path martial artists, and as long as there was enough of it, none of these martial artists could escape. And once they died, they would become the best nourishment for the Abyss Dragon. Seeing that Shui Qin and the other three could actually chase away the sea snakes and frogmen, the Abyss Dragon could not hold it in anymore. However, no matter how he chased them away, these poisonous creatures were unwilling to approach the four of them. The Abyss Dragon had no choice but to do it himself. He caught a sea snake and fed it the poison himself. As a result, the scene before him happened. A human and a dragon stared at each other. Shui Qin was a little confused. The nether dragon put down the sea snake, turned around and ran. What the hell is this? Kill it! Shui Qin's expression turned cold. However, the corpse poison had already entered her body. She could only hold the bead to remove the corpse poison. When the corpse poison was completely removed, the Abyss Dragon had already disappeared. Jiang Chongkong sat cross-legged on the coral tree and manifested his Dao pattern to resist the corpse poison. The corpse poison was extremely terrifying. Even his Dao runes were being corroded. He even felt that if he allowed the corpse poison to corrode his body, it would eventually corrode his Dao pattern. Seeing the Abyss Dragon run back, Jiang Chongkong quickly placed his hand on its body and let it absorb the corpse poison. The Abyss Dragon absorbed the corpse poison and lay on the coral tree, feeling slightly depressed. I can only catch snakes and bite them to death. Jiang Chongkong sighed and said, Forget it. If you don't kill them, they will kill you first. He had never seen an Abyss Dragon court death like this. It was really going all out for the sake of corpses. The Abyss Dragon sighed softly. What do we do now? Of course, we'll lure them there. Jiang Chongkong pointed at Lin Suyun's group of 5. Let them find Shui Qin and the other 3. But they might not fight to the death, the Abyss Dragon said worriedly. It's better than wasting time here. If they die, we won't be able to take down Shui Qin and the other 3. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. If they kept wasting time here, they would at most exhaust Lin Suyun's group of 5 to death, but Shui Qin's group would definitely be fine. At that time, they wouldn't be a match for the 4 of them at all. The Abyss Dragon brought him to Lin Suyun. How? Why don't we give them a rope and let them follow it? Jiang Chongkong muttered. The Abyss Dragon thought about it for a moment and felt that it was feasible. Catch the sea snake, tie a knot, and tie it up. Then, he threw one end at Lin Suyun. Bang! A loud sound rang out. It was so loud that it attracted the attention of the 5 people. What a long sea snake! This snake's venom must be terrifying. A martial artist exclaimed. Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon were rendered speechless. Have you been poison blind? This is clearly a rope made by many sea snakes tied together to guide you. The blue light swept across, and Lin Suyun's expression darkened. These are sea snakes tied together. Who tied them up? Other than us, they're the only ones left here. What are they trying to do? The lunar star power martial artist frowned. Jiang Chongkong gestured for the Abyss Dragon to drag the sea snake. It's moving. This is most likely a trap. We can't go over, Lin Suyun said coldly. Beware of traps, the extreme star power martial artist warned. The other martial artists frowned and asked, Is there any other way? Chase. We don't know where to go. Let's follow and see. The rest of the martial artists didn't hesitate and chased after him. Lin Suyun's expression changed slightly. Although she was unwilling, she could only follow. The Abyss Dragon and Jiang Chongkong dragged the rope and ran while the other continued to tie the sea snake. 15 minutes later, the Abyss Dragon said in a low voice, It's about time, Brother Kong. Cut the rope. We'll hide. Jiang Chongkong put away the tied sea snake. The Abyss Dragon cut the rope and hid in the coral reefs with him. Shui Qin's voice sounded again. Primitive people from the Immortal Palace, have you thought it through? Only one of you can survive, and that's the person with the Sea Race's token. The idiots from the Immortal Palace are probably wary of each other now, the Gold Meridian martial artist said. They'll kill each other to survive. Not to mention the Sea Race's treasure. Lin Suyun didn't reply to us. She's probably dead. The 2 Thunder Meridian martial artists sneered. Shui Qin was about to continue speaking when her gaze suddenly froze. She looked in the direction that the people had come from and retreated behind the 3 of them. Next, we'll just wait for them to kill each other. Before they kill each other, we'll kill you first. A cold voice came. Lin Suyun and the other 4 walked out. Kill. Without a word, the moon rose on the moon great path. The golden crow howled on the sun great path. 2 beams of golden light shone through the darkness and slashed down. You actually found your way here? Shui Qin and the other 3's expressions changed. Thunder surged out. Rumble. Their first exchange was a full-force collision. Monstrous star power swept out. The surrounding coral trees exploded and released an even more terrifying corpse poison. Great Path Corpse Poison, corrosive Great Path. The Taoist rhyme spread, shaking the earth and shattering the coral trees. Shui Qin quickly put away the bead, and the long zither released blue starlight. Puff! Blood splattered, and all kinds of blood gushed out. As soon as they exchanged blows, both sides were injured. Holy moon! True sun! Heavenly thunder descends. Starfall! They stabilized themselves and attacked again, still with full force. Rumble! Endless star power spread out. Poisonous gas surged and corroded everything. In the distance, Jiang Chongkong was still tying up the sea snake and a group of frogmen. Tie more, tie more. The Nether Dragon said while stuffing the sausages into his mouth. I can't believe I'm making sausages for you here. Jiang Chongkong was a little depressed. These tied-up sea snakes and frogmen were for the Nether Dragon to eat. The battle in the distance was earth-shattering. Jiang Chongkong paid attention to the battle while making sausages. The sea god's token is probably not easy to get. Both sides are protecting the token tightly. The Nether Dragon grabbed the coral trees with his claws. Should we destroy everything here? It's useless even if we destroy it. They won't die. Jiang Chongkong said calmly, let's wait. They're about to stop. If they keep fighting like this, they'll really die. Without the enhancement of a secret technique, the bead could only protect one person. In the past few exchanges, except for Lin Suyun and Shui Qin, who held the bead, everyone else was poisoned. Furthermore, due to the fact that the coral trees contained even more lethal poison, their strength was greatly suppressed, causing their strength to drop significantly. A large amount of corpse poison poured into their bodies. The Tao patterns trembled violently and showed signs of melting. Both sides stopped at the same time and took out the beads to detoxify each other. Shui Qin's expression was slightly cold. If we keep fighting, we'll all die here. You asked for it. Lin Suyun's expression was cold. If it weren't for you, we would have entered the palace to get the treasure. We'll continue fighting when we recover, the Lunar Star Power martial artist said coldly. Ha, do you dare to continue fighting? It's not good for anyone to be stubborn. Shui Qin's expression was cold. Let's talk about working together to get the treasure. Lin Suyun was silent. The 4 Immortal Palace martial artists looked gloomy. They didn't want to continue fighting either, but after what happened before, they didn't dare to trust these 4 people easily. In the past, it was the Immortal Palace who fooled others, but now they were being fooled. What, do you really want to fight? The Thunder Star martial artist said coldly. Lin Suyun's eyes were cold. We can cooperate, but what about your sincerity? First you fooled us, and now you want to cooperate. How can we trust you? Then what sincerity do you want? Shui Qin said calmly. Lin Suyun looked at the bead in her hand. Why do you have this token? I have 2 beads, Shui Qin said calmly. Chapter 383. Nonsense. Why didn't I receive a notification when I got it? Lin Suyun's expression changed slightly. She had thought that she was the only token of the Sea Clan. That's because you know too little about the Sea Clan. Only by combining our tokens can we open the biggest treasure of the Sea Clan. Shui Qin said indifferently, I've already shown my sincerity. What sincerity? How do you use it? Lin Suyun said coldly, don't try to play tricks. If you don't tell me, no one can take the treasure. I can teach you the secret method of the Sea Clan. How's that? Shui Qin frowned. Lin Suyun nodded slightly and asked, how do we divide the treasure? Is there any danger in the palace? The treasure can be divided equally or according to our strength. There is no danger in the palace. Shui Qin's expression was cold. I've said enough. If you're greedy, then let's continue. Let's fight. The Immortal Palace warrior snorted and was about to attack. You think I'm afraid of you? The 2 Thunder Warriors urged the Thunder Star Power again. For a moment, lightning flashed and thunder snakes dashed. Lin Suyun raised her hand and said with a smile, deal. As for how to divide the treasure, we'll divide it 50-50. The Immortal Palace doesn't want more enemies. Okay. Come here. I'll teach you the secret method, Shui Qin said. You come here, Lin Suyun said indifferently. You're full of tricks. It's safer if you come here. Shui Qin sneered. Do you really think I'm weak? How could I not know what kind of people the Immortal Palace was? They called themselves the Immortal Palace, but they did a bunch of evil things. We'll teach in the middle. I can't stop you with my strength, Shui Qin said coldly. Okay. Lin Suyun agreed. The others stepped back. Lin Suyun gave the bead to her companion and walked out. Shui Qin also gave the bead to the Thunder Warrior, and the 2 stepped into the poisonous fog. They stood facing each other. Shui Qin pointed at her and taught her the secret method of the Sea Clan. Lin Suyun smiled. Thank you. Let's go. Let's get the treasure together. Shui Qin returned to her companion and took the bead. As the 2 parties headed for the Sea Race's palace, Jiang Chongkong looked at the Netherworld dragon. Both parties are not easy to deal with. Brother Long, I'll have to trouble you later. No problem. As long as there are corpses, leave it to me. The treasures are yours. The Abyss Dragon carried him and followed behind him carefully. The 9 martial artists joined forces once more and arrived in front of the Sea Race Royal Palace. There was a picture of a pearl on the door. Shui Qin said indifferently, It's your turn. The token in your hand can open the outer door. There is an inner door inside. You need my pearl. Lin Suyun nodded. She took out the bead and imprinted it on the pattern. Buzz. A pale blue light flashed, and the door of the palace slowly opened. A 5-colored light came from the crystal palace, and a gentle energy spread out, making one feel relaxed. The 5-colored light dissipated, revealing the situation inside. This time, Lin Suyun and the others walked in first. Their expressions immediately turned cold. Why is it empty? Empty? Shui Qin and the other 3 rushed in, and when they saw the empty palace, their expressions changed drastically. There was nothing in the empty hall except for 3 tightly closed doors. Maybe the treasures are behind the doors? The Thunder martial artist muttered. That should be the case. This is the Sea Races Conference Hall. It's normal that there are no treasures here, Shui Qin said after thinking for a moment. Lin Suyun's eyes flashed. Then which of the 3 doors should we go through? Shui Qin walked forward. The 3 doors all had the bead pattern. These are also the outer doors. You decide. I suggest opening them all. Lin Suyun's eyes flashed. She thought for a moment. You stand with me. This way, even if there was danger, the 2 of them would face it together. Shui Qin smiled and stood beside her without hesitation. Lin Suyun took out the bead and opened the door on the left. The door opened, revealing a passage. At the end was a corner, and it was unknown where it led. She opened the other 2 doors, and they both led to the same passage. I suggest we go in the middle, Lin Suyun said. I have no objections, Shui Qin said. I don't know everything about the Sea Race Royal Palace. We're here to help you get the treasure. We'll listen to you, the 4 from the Immortal Palace said. The 9 martial artists were divided into 2 rows and walked side by side. Jiang Chongkong and the Nether Dragon followed them from a distance. They only entered the passage after they turned the corner. There were murals on the walls on both sides of the passage. They were carvings of the sea race. There were fish, prawns, crabs, sea snakes, whales, and so on. The man and the dragon followed carefully. When they reached the corner, a painting on Jiang Chongkong's back caught their attention. A mermaid. Unfortunately, it was a male fish, an extinct species. I wonder if there are still mermaids in the universe. Jiang Chongkong transmitted his voice to the Nether Dragon. The Nether Dragon said, Of course there are. It's said that the Yellow Spring clan is extinct, but I still exist. But I don't know if we can meet one. Let's go. I'm just curious about how beautiful this mermaid is, Jiang Chongkong said. I'm also curious if this mermaid is delicious. Jiang Chongkong sighed. He felt that there was a big gap between his and the Nether Dragon's thinking. This guy only cared about whether it was delicious and how to flatten the Void Realm. Rumble. There was another explosion. Jiang Chongkong and the Nether Dragon hurried over. It was not a battle between the 2 sides, but a trap. The 2 sides worked together to flatten the trap. Under the ravages of time, the Sea Race Palace had also decayed. Even the early-stage star path could be forcibly pushed over. The passage was long. The 2 sides were still ahead. Jiang Chongkong continued to look at the murals on both sides. There were some more star characters here. This is the Sea King Palace of the Sea Race's 13 Eastern Sea Regions? Jiang Chongkong looked at the star characters. It recorded that this was the 13 Sea Kings of the Eastern Sea Regions, a near god. If the 13 Sea Kings were near god powerhouses, what about the other 12 regions? How many regions were there in total? Wasn't the Eastern Sea a little too crowded? He could easily cross the sea with his current star path. If it was a near god, he would be in someone else's territory in one step. There's no painting of the Sea King. The Nether Dragon glanced at it and continued forward. The 9 martial artists had reached the end of the passage. There was a palace with a plaque hanging on it. Sea Dragon Palace. Lin Suyun looked at the plaque. This Sea Race King is a sea dragon? We'll know when we go in. Shui Qin took out the bead. I'll open the inner palace. After saying that, she pressed the bead on it. The palace door opened, and the situation inside appeared again. It was still empty. What's going on? Lin Suyun's expression darkened. The main hall was empty. The inner hall was still empty. How could this be? Could it be that the sea race packed up and left? Shui Qin took 2 steps back. She was a little shocked, and her expression was very ugly. Could it be that someone cleaned up this place before us? The martial artist from the Immortal Palace frowned. Impossible. The token is in our hands. Or Lin Suyun, did you clean up this place in advance? Shui Qin's expression changed as she looked at Lin Suyun. If I was here, why would I come here? Lin Suyun said coldly. I think it was you who took away the things here. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to make it here. All right, there's no point in arguing like this. Let's look around. If there's no other way out, we'll go to the other 2 paths, the martial artist from the Thunder sect said. Lin Suyun's expression was gloomy, and she didn't say anything. Chapter 384. The 9 martial artists searched the empty Sea Dragon Palace but did not find anything. Jiang Chongkong and Underworld Dragon quickly returned. The 9 martial artists had ugly expressions as they entered the left passage. Jiang Chongkong was also puzzled. This place is empty. Did the 13 Sea Kings really not leave anything behind? Underworld Dragon shook its head. It seems we came here for nothing. Let's look at the left first, Jiang Chongkong said. On the left was also the Sea Dragon Palace, but this Sea Dragon Palace was also empty. There was nothing. The 9-star path martial artists felt tired. They had finally found a treasure close to divinity, but it was still empty. They had put in so much effort to enter, but they got nothing. Is the sea race poor? The Immortal Palace martial artist scolded. Even emptier than a human face, not a single star path item was left behind. The Sea King left an empty palace. It's really a disgrace to his reputation as a god. The Thunder Vein martial artist was also disappointed. A treasure close to divinity, they had great expectations before coming. Do we still go to the right passage? Of course, what if the right is not empty? The 9 martial artists entered the right again. Jiang Chongkong lay on Underworld Dragon. Brother Dragon, did you not feel the corpses? No. Underworld Dragon shook its head in disappointment. Either there are no corpses here, or there is a powerful sea race great Tao that is perfectly sealed. Jiang Chongkong did not say anything and followed the group to the end of the left passage. Wait. Seeing that Shui Qin was about to open the palace again, Lin Suyun stopped her. What's wrong? Shui Qin was puzzled. Our tokens are the same, and the pattern on the door is the same. I want to try and see if mine can open this inner door. Lin Suyun said calmly. Shui Qin smiled. What a joke. You are already a star path martial artist. Why are you still looking at things on the surface? The outside is the same, but the inside of the token is different. If it is not suitable, the token might be destroyed, and the door will be closed. Thank you for your guidance. I was muddle-headed for a moment. Lin Suyun smiled and retreated to the side. And then I will open it. Shui Qin took out a pearl and prepared to imprint the door pattern. Xiao. Shui Qin's expression changed when she saw a cold light. She quickly withdrew the bead and retreated. What are you doing? You want to fight? The 3 martial artists' expressions were cold. The Tao rhymes of the Great Path circulated, and star power surged. Buzz. A blue pearl was imprinted on the door. The Taiyin warrior's face darkened. Because the door had opened. Well said. I'll open the outer gate and you'll open the inner gate. Lin Suyun sneered. You really think we're fools? Her token had also been opened. Explain. The Solar Star Power martial artist said coldly. Maybe I remembered wrongly, or maybe the door. Enough! Lin Suyun snorted coldly and directly interrupted her words. Your pearl, of course, can also open the door. You were the one who moved all the things here, right? Shui Qin's expression turned cold. Are you blaming me for not being able to find the treasure? Now, give me your pearl, Lin Suyun said coldly. In your dreams, primitive people from the Celestial Palace, Do you think we are afraid of you? The Thunder Warrior snorted coldly and stood in front of Shui Qin. Kill! Without another word, the martial artists from both sides started fighting. The power of the Great Path vibrated, and the Tao rhymes spread out. Terrifying power shook the surroundings. Kaboom! The majestic power surged, and the tunnel could not withstand it and actually cracked. Finally, the battle has begun, the Abyss Dragon said excitedly. Shui Qin must have moved all the things here, Jiang Changkong said in a low voice. The Abyss Dragon curled his lips and said, Lin Suyun is also possible. Don't forget, the remnant people of the universe have always lived on this land. They must be very familiar with this place. Moreover, the opening of the relic by the Celestial Palace is a secret. Why would the remnant people of the universe appear on time? Jiang Changkong said in a low voice, If Shui Qin was the one who moved all the things here, then it makes sense. If she moved all the things here, then why did she come back? The Abyss Dragon was confused. I don't know. Let's keep watching, Jiang Changkong said in a low voice. The majestic power clashed, and the tunnel wall exploded, revealing another tunnel. This time, both sides did not hold back. They fought with all their strength, and every move was aimed at the vital parts. The 5 people from the Celestial Palace worked together to suppress Shui Qin's group of 4. The zither moved and blue light shone. Shui Qin's lips moved, and she was chanting silently. At this time, Jiang Changkong felt a little strange. Shui Qin and Lin Suyun's soul ripples were somewhat similar, and the aura of the Great Path was also similar. If he had not received the soul inheritance, he would not have been able to see anything strange. Crack! The floor cracked and black gas spread out. Roar! A deep and deafening roar exploded in everyone's ears. The aura of corpses. They are corpses, the Abyss Dragon said excitedly. Kaboom! The entire Sea Race Palace was shaking. The roar became louder and louder, and the black gas increased. Kaboom! The building above exploded, and the martial artists rushed into the sky. Roar! The roar finally rang out. The Sea Race Palace split in half, and a huge creature crawled out from below. It had a body like a giant python, and there were 2 bumps on its head. Its whole body emitted a strong Tao might. Its huge black body rushed out of the Sea Race Palace, and it carried Shui Qin and the other 3. Its lifeless eyes stared at the 5 people from the Celestial Palace. Is this your kind? Jiang Changkong patted the Abyss Dragon. The thing that rushed out was also a flood dragon, and it exuded an aura of death. No, this is the corpse of a sea dragon, refined with a special secret method, the Abyss Dragon said excitedly. If I devour it, I will definitely improve a lot. Jiang Changkong estimated that this sea dragon corpse was 2,000 feet long, and it was 500 feet longer than the Abyss Dragon. This is a sea dragon? Lin Suyun's expression was gloomy. Originally, I did not want to attack so early, but you are too stupid. Shui Qin strummed her zither. Today, all of you will be buried here. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the sky, resounding throughout the Sea Race secret realm. Even the whales outside were alarmed. However, the whales did not come over. They were afraid of the sea dragon's pressure, and they fled far away. Kill! The 5 people from the Celestial Palace activated their Tao patterns and fought. This sea dragon's strength was at the peak of the early stage of the star path, but it was still a dead creature, and it could not use all its knowledge. If they really fought, there was a chance of victory. Below, the Abyss Dragon carried Jiang Changkong directly into the crack below. There are corpses down there? Jiang Changkong asked in surprise. Yes, a lot. This sea dragon corpse must have been refined to protect this place. The Abyss Dragon said in a low voice. The man and dragon rushed into the crack, and the situation inside appeared in front of them. A pitch-black city emitted a monstrous aura of death. 13 Sea Kings, Mermaid King City? Jiang Changkong and the Abyss Dragon stood below the city, and when they saw the name of the city, they were slightly surprised. This place must have been set up by the Yellow Springs branch. I can feel the terrifying corpse chi here. The Abyss Dragon's eyes flashed with the aura of death. The star array here is also the Yellow Springs branch's star array. Jiang Changkong's eyes lit up. You can handle it? This is the Yellow Springs branch's paradise. Sit tight, Brother Kong. The Abyss Dragon directly brought Jiang Changkong underground. This is all the underworld. Even if my inheritance is incomplete, I can use my instincts to move freely here. Chapter 385. Abyss Dragon flew underground and sensed the aura of the corpses. There are actually so many star crystals here. Jiang Changkong was excited. This city was full of star crystals. That's not right. Brother Kong, I should be the one rich with such a dense aura of death and corpses. Abyss Dragon was confused. Why were there star crystals? There should be corpses everywhere. Brother Dragon, there's no need to talk about this between us. Jiang Changkong grinned. I made so many sausages for you. It's time for me to get something. Abyss Dragon was depressed. Brother Kong, I'm just curious. Logically speaking, such dense aura of death and corpse shouldn't be able to turn into star crystals. Thought it would be a feast. It didn't expect Jiang Changkong to benefit from it. It's indeed abnormal. These star crystals are of the fire element. Jiang Changkong picked up a star crystal and said in surprise, The marine race has fire element? This one is of the wind element. Abyss Dragon also picked up a star crystal and noticed something was wrong. The ones buried here aren't from the marine race. Brother Dragon, help me keep the star crystals first. Whether I can step into the star Dao will depend on you. Jiang Changkong couldn't care about anything else. He needed to get the star crystals first. There were too many star crystals underground. Many of them were even rank 10 star crystals. Abyss Dragon used its instincts. The Abyss Dragon moved like water and gathered the star crystals here. He opened up another underground space for Jiang Changkong to take out some equipment to process the star crystals. Abyss Dragon also started to help and put all the star crystals into the equipment. I want to go up and take a look. That's good too. It will take some time to process these star crystals. I'll go up with you. Jiang Changkong pondered. There was no point in waiting here. He wanted to process them and break through first. However, Abyss Dragon couldn't wait. He sensed the dense aura of death and corpse but no corpses. This made him very unhappy. Moreover, the star crystals here were condensed from the corpses of other races. There were no real marine race corpses. There wasn't even a single water element star crystal here. One man and one dragon left the underground space and came to the surface. The majestic corpse chi filled the entire Mermaid King city. Due to the restriction of the star array, it did not spread out. Corpses of fishes, prawns, crabs, and sea snakes floated in the air. I was wondering why there weren't any sea race corpses. The Abyss Dragon grinned and pounced. Bang! A star array pattern flashed and directly shook the Nether Dragon down. Little Brother Kong, help me. The Abyss Dragon bared its teeth and said. Jiang Changkong frowned. The great Tao of strength, the great Tao of soul, and the Taiji Yin-Yang art were unleashed. With a raise of his palm, boundless energy surged forth, and the Taiji became one. Buzz. The patterns of the star array appeared, and a blue light flashed. The Tai Chi unification dissipated, and the blue light slashed directly at Jiang Changkong. Walala! Golden blood flowed out like a fountain. The blue light had actually sliced him into two. The dense corpse aura prevented his wounds from healing. Little Brother Kong. The Abyss Dragon's expression changed, and it quickly helped him absorb the corpse energy. The corpse energy dissipated, and Jiang Changkong's body quickly healed. However, his expression was dispirited, and he was heavily injured. Brother Dragon, I can't help you. Jiang Changkong's heart beat wildly. He couldn't even react to the blue light just now. Moreover, with his current strength, even a peak early-stage star path cultivator would have to be careful when dealing with his Tai Chi unification. However, before the blue light, he was unbelievably weak. This is the Sea Races Array and the Yellow Springs Array. The Abyss Dragon raised its head and looked at the corpse energy and death energy released by the countless corpses. All of them were surging in one direction. The center of the Mermaid King City. Let's go and take a look. The Abyss Dragon gave up on the corpses and looked at the center. Jiang Chongkong lay on its body. It's safer on your body. Let's go. Other than the Yellow Springs creatures like the Abyss Dragon, probably only the Sea Races token could move freely in this ghastly place. The Abyss Dragon carried Jiang Chongkong and flew deeper into the city. Jiang Chongkong paid attention to the corpses. There were also human corpses, but they were all water elemental. Brother Dragon, did you see this sea snake blink? Jiang Chongkong looked at a huge sea snake corpse and actually blinked. The Abyss Dragon raised its head and looked at the sea snake. Brother Kong, don't worry. If corpses dare to jump out, I have Brother Dragon. The Abyss Dragon finally found a sense of superiority and confidence. In the Yellow Springs path, Jiang Chongkong wasn't as good as it. It would also fly with him one day. The human and the dragon soon arrived at the center. Jiang Chongkong paid attention to the corpses along the way. Many of them blinked. However, the Abyss Dragon wasn't worried. The corpses didn't jump out, so it gradually relaxed. The Mermaid King Palace. In the center, there was a huge palace with its doors wide open. The star array inside was activated and emitted gray light. Endless corpse energy and death energy gathered to form a platform. And on this platform there was a mermaid lying. Its upper body was human, and its lower body was a fishtail. It wore a crown and a dragon robe. Its delicate face was ruddy, and its chest was rising and falling. Faint breathing could be heard. Next to the corpse was a blue scepter inlaid with blue gems. It was surrounded by water vapor. Jiang Chongkong finally saw a female mermaid. Strictly speaking, she was a mermaid. She was beautiful, with long blue hair. But that wasn't what he was focused on. Is this alive? The corner of Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. Why was it that when he entered the ruins, all the treasures were alive? Couldn't some of them really die so that he could take advantage of them? Roar. A low roar sounded, and a few sea snakes slithered over. The Abyss Dragon's expression changed, and it hurriedly retreated. Brother, it's all a misunderstanding. Brother Kong and I will leave now. Jiang Chongkong. Brother Dragon, where's your bragging just now? Seeing the Abyss Dragon retreating, the sea snakes returned to their original positions. Without thinking, the Abyss Dragon sank into the ground. Jiang Chongkong felt that his brother dragon was trembling. Every muscle on its body was jumping. Brother Dragon, can't you protect them? Jiang Chongkong said in a low voice. The Abyss Dragon wiped his sweat. More importantly, they're alive. Where are the sea snakes? What's going on? Can you tell? Jiang Chongkong asked. The sea snakes are an array. As for the mermaids, they can revive. Have you heard of them? Of course, you can't say that. They should be the Mermaid King who was injured. Although my inheritance is incomplete, I can tell that they're using the Yellow Springs Array to revive themselves. The Abyss Dragon said in a low voice. Luckily, they didn't make things difficult for us because you're from the Yellow Springs, Jiang Chongkong said with a hint of relief. Those sea snakes should be protecting the Mermaid King. Not just the sea snakes. The rest of the corpses, including the sea dragon outside, are all guardians here. The Abyss Dragon said solemnly. They should be the Yellow Springs Een soldiers. Unfortunately, I lost my inheritance. Continue to get the star crystals. Let's see if there are star crystals in other places. Jiang Chongkong suppressed these thoughts. He would think about it after he stepped into the path of stars. The Abyss Dragon nodded and led him to search underground. Since there were no corpses above, he could only help Jiang Chongkong get star crystals. Although he was reluctant to leave those corpses, They couldn't afford to offend that person in the palace. Chapter 386. In 2 days, all the equipment was turned on and 90% of the star crystals were processed. He first processed the rank 8 and 9 star crystals, leaving behind some rank 10 and 7 star crystals. He didn't plan to process the rank 7 star crystals and bring them back to pay his salary. He processed a portion of the rank 10 star crystals and kept some of the rank 9 star crystals. There were 2 million low-grade star crystals, 1.5 million mid-grade star crystals, and 1 million high-grade star crystals. There were 800,000 top-grade ones. There were also quite a number of low-grade rank 9 star crystals, 600,000 low-grade, 400,000 mid-grade, and 200,000 high-grade star crystals. The top-grade ones, 100,000. There were 10,000 low-grade star crystals, 5,000 mid-grade, and nothing else. 4 million. It was enough for him to step into the star Tao. There were no more rank 8 star crystals left, so there was no need to wait. After borrowing the underworld dragon's treasure, Jiang Chongkong went into seclusion. Before he went into seclusion, he had to say something. "Brother Dragon, this seclusion is very important, so I'll have to trouble you to stay away." The underworld dragon scratched the soil with its claws and hesitated. "I'm afraid it will take a long time to break through to the star Tao. Back then, I used a few months to comprehend the star Tao. It's okay, with Brother Dragon's treasure, it will be done in a few days," Jiang Chongkong said confidently. The underworld dragon used half a year to break through to the star Tao with treasures. As for Jiang Chongkong, he just needed to level up and he didn't need to work hard to break through. "Alright then, after you break through, if the entrance to the ruins closes, we should be able to break it open if we work together." The underworld dragon didn't say anything else and built a secret room for him underground. "I'll go up and take a look. Come and find me after you break through." After bidding farewell to the underworld dragon, golden light shone down and the Tao patterns became active. Jiang Chongkong first filled the secret room with white cloud Tao runes before setting up a soul illusion. He didn't even want the underworld dragon to know about Jiang Chongyue's identity. 3 great combat bodies gathered in one body. Until now, only the soul martial Tao near God knew about it. He was finally going to enter the demigod realm of top martial artists. At the same time, it also meant that his martial arts were going to upgrade. 2 martial arts at perfection would upgrade at the same time. This time, Jiang Chongkong was very restrained. Otherwise, with such a huge phenomenon, he would definitely rush out of this secret room. The 9 energy patterns on the 3-meter-tall golden body started to expand and fuse into every corner of his body. The dense star formation runes on the body-tempering star disappeared and were replaced by force Tao runes. Star power was being condensed and multiplied. Pure power and majestic blood qi were surging. A dark golden luster appeared around his body, and his 3-zhang-tall golden body stepped into a new level. With his 5 senses strengthened, Jiang Chongkong's eyes opened and closed. 9 power patterns interweaved, and a body-tempering star appeared in his eyes. His gaze pierced through the abyss earth and the ground, and he saw the abyss dragon staring at the corpses in the city. The abyss dragon seemed to have sensed something. It lowered its head to look, then scratched its head. It did not discover anything. The sounds that came from above were the roars of the sea dragon corpse and the slaughter of the star path cultivators. This group of people was still fighting. In fact, with a single thought, he was able to project the battle situation into his mind through sound alone. However, these people also frowned and paused, as if they had sensed something. Jiang Chongkong did not eavesdrop on them anymore. He had just broken through and was not familiar with using it yet. The sun great Tao improved. The sun star was like a real sun. The Tao patterns were condensed, and the Tao runes were dense. Within the sun star, an illusory image of a golden crow appeared. The moon star was like a real star now. The white-robed figure inside turned into the image of a jade toad. The sun true fire appeared, and the golden crow appeared. The moon vast cold formed, and the jade toad condensed. The Tao patterns of the two stars deepened by 30%. Next was the soul great Tao. The flower sky stamen condensed, and he stepped into the star path. Everywhere his soul power passed, everything appeared clearly in his mind. He could even hear their conversation clearly. The soul great Tao strengthened. If he searched the soul star's early stage, he would not explode so easily. The tyrant saber's star increased its Tao patterns. A formless saber light carried an aura of annihilation that could destroy all life. The Taiji great Tao, yin and yang combined. The true Taiji returned to one. On the white cloud great Tao, Jiang Chongkong seemed to have turned into a cloud, the highest and most noble cloud in the world. He stood in the sky like the overlord of the sky, and all things bowed down to him. The 7 martial arts transformed, and the battle body star formation also became stronger, reaching the inferior grade star path. The power of the great Tao interweave. Body tempering, moon, sun, Taiji, soul, tyrant saber, and white cloud, 7 great Tao. The Tao patterns were like silk threads, crisscrossing but not interfering with each other. Jiang Chongkong was not in a hurry to wake up. Instead, he used the previous method to carve the star formation. The star formation was carved, and he saw the great Tao imprint again. A ray of sunlight contained pure Tao patterns. This time, Jiang Chongkong saw 1/10 of it. It was pure Tao pattern imprint, and it filled the inside of the sunlight. Jiang Chongkong gradually came to a realization. A true drop of stellar energy contained the Grand Tao, not the Grand Tao itself. A drop of star power, a star. If the sun star had consciousness and enough power, it could explode with the sun great Tao, and it could definitely kill any star path cultivator. As for star sages and near gods, he wasn't sure. He only knew that if he could do that, it wouldn't be a problem for him to beat people of the same level with just one element and one martial art. If he could transform 8 martial arts into one, he could even beat the current him, let alone beat people of the same level. Thinking about it, every attack was made up of endless stars and endless layers of complete great paths. Meanwhile, the power of others was just contaminated with the aura of the Tao patterns and formed a Tao aura. The difference was like heaven and earth. Jiang Chongkong tried to let his astral power carry it according to the imprint of the great path. It was a great idea, but the reality was cruel. He couldn't do it, so the star power dissipated. He had no choice but to give up this idea for the time being and organize the information in his mind. There were many great Tao insights after the upgrade, which made Jiang Chongkong have a deeper understanding of these great Tao. The Tai Chi great Tao was the two extremes of yin and yang, one positive and the other negative. Under the embrace of the Tai Chi great Tao, all the power in his body could be integrated into it, forming the Tai Chi unity. It was like turning the Tai Chi unity from before into instinct, and it wasn't a true integration. If he could really fuse them together, he would be able to cultivate the so-called ultimate combat body. The information in Zhang Xian's head sounded once more. The 30 Zhang golden body had transformed into the indestructible golden body. Rebirth from a single drop of blood was not an issue. Activating the 3 Zhang golden body was no longer 3 Zhang, but 1,000 Zhang golden body. The God-governing art had transformed into the imperial heaven scripture. There was nothing in the world that could not be controlled. Moreover, as long as a wisp of his soul remained, Jiang Chongkong would not die. It was similar to the indestructible golden body's blood rebirth. The Holy Sun art had formed the Sun Sutra. Every move he made was filled with true sun fire that could burn the great Tao. The bright moon technique had transformed into the lunar scripture. The pure lunar power could seal the great path of ice. The tyrant saber turned into the heavenly saber of death. There was nothing in the world that it could not kill. It could sever the great Tao and extinguish all life. What surprised Jiang Changkong the most was the change in the White Cloud 9-layer sutra. The Cloud Tao Sutra. Under the white clouds, everything bowed their heads and all living things lowered their heads. 7 martial arts, 7 great Taos, all of them had stepped into the star path realm. The great Tao power around Jiang Changkong's body had reached a terrifying level. With a thought, the entire sea race ruin appeared in his mind. The God-governing art combined with his 5 senses. Everything was under his control, and at this moment, no one could discover his spying. Not even the peak early-stage star path. As his heart surged, a figure condensed in Stargate. Chapter 387. Rumble. The 7 kinds of Great Tao sensed it immediately, and the power of the Great Tao pressed out. The white cloud path was the first to erupt. A tyrannical might of the way filled the Stargate. The Great Tao of Taiji, the Great Tao of Yin, the Great Tao of Body Tempering, the 7 Great Taos intertwined, and the Tao patterns weaved a Great Tao net. The figure that had just been formed was immediately suppressed. A powerful Great Path of the Soul contended with the 7 Great Paths. The Great Tao of the Soul was extremely terrifying. Even the 7 Great Taos could not suppress it directly. For a time, the two sides were in a deadlock. The soul figure's expression was extremely ugly. "Brat, is this how you treat your seniors and benefactors? So it's senior. Even a strand of your divine soul possesses such might. Changkong admires you." Jiang Changkong's soul figure stood up and retracted the 7 Great Taos. He was shocked, but at the same time, he felt relieved. After all, the person in front of him was close to a god. Star Path martial artists bore the full power of the Great Tao and were close to godhood. They had long since surpassed this realm. He had just entered the Star Tao and had only inherited a portion of the Great Tao, not even 10%. It was not bad for him to be able to fight evenly with the remnant soul of a true god. Back then, when he had not entered the Star Path, he felt that he could give it a try. Thinking about it, he found it funny. Previously, he had been too naive and had underestimated a god. The power of the Great Tao dissipated. Jiang Changkong cupped his hands and said, "It's all an instinctive defense. I did not expect Senior to suddenly appear." The soul figure's expression eased up slightly. "You have stepped into the star path much earlier than I expected. Senior, you promised to tell me where that thing is when I step onto the path of stars," Jiang Changkong said. "There should still be some space left," the soul figure said. "Senior, didn't you say that it was inexhaustible? Why is there only a little?" Jiang Changkong frowned. Could it be that this fellow was tricking him? However, there was no benefit in fooling himself like this. If you want to find an endless number of them, you have to fulfill the wish of the wind vane, the soul figure said with a smile. Wind vane? Are they looking for me because of this? Jiang Changkong frowned. The soul figure said indifferently, "The wind vane is looking for you because it used the power of 3 lights to open a stone box. There's a key inside. Open it for them and give them the keys. Don't move." "Why?" Jiang Changkong frowned. "If it's a supreme treasure, it would be better for me to hold it in my hand. Or does the wind vane have something to do with you? After being in the void realm for so many years, this godlike person must have more or less figured out the void realm. The actions of these remnants of the void must have been seen by them. With your strength, you can't handle it. Opening that place will be dangerous," the soul figure said indifferently. "Moreover, that key can only be used to open it." Jiang Changkong frowned and did not say anything. The soul figure continued, "Only by opening that place will you be able to obtain more resources. There aren't many resources left on Earth now. The resources in the nearby starry skies have long been swept away by the major forces." Jiang Changkong pondered and said, "In other words, you want the Wind bloodline and the others to take the risk, and you don't care about the lives of those survivors? Is your killing intent that heavy?" The soul figure frowned slightly. "Their lives have nothing to do with me. However, I have to remind you that some of their ancestors are still alive. I understand. Thank you for telling me. Jiang Chongkong smiled indifferently. The ancestors behind them? So what? It was as if the remnants of the universe did not have any godlike people. They were far away in the starry skies and could not come back. Now was the best time for him to make a move. He allowed them to attack him, but they could not fight back? That did not make sense. Why did you come to the Mermaid King's place? The Netherworld Abyssal Dragon sure is lucky. No wonder you guys are fine. The soul figure's thoughts shifted and already knew their current location. What's the situation with the Mermaid King? Jiang Chongkong asked. Recuperate. With my mark and the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon, she won't make things difficult for you. After saying that, the soul figure began to fade. Don't remove the Tao patterns I left behind. This is my way of contacting you. After saying that, the soul figure completely disappeared. Jiang Chongkong pondered for a moment and sensed the star patterns in his mind. With his current strength, he could barely remove those two marks. After thinking about it, he still did not remove them. After the collision just now, he was no longer afraid of these crippled true gods, even though he was still wary of them. If he fought with all his strength, it would be hard to tell if he could survive. Unless they recovered all their strength, and he was also improving quickly. Jiang Chongkong began to check his data. Jiang Chongkong. Early stage of the Star Path Top Grade, Low Grade Martial Arts. Indestructible Golden Body. Beginner 1/500 Tai Chi Sutra. Beginner 1/500 Sun Sutra. Beginner 1/500 Moon Sutra. Beginner 1/500 Death Heavenly Blade. Beginner 1/500 Sky Sutra. Beginner 1/500 Cloud Sutra. Beginner 1/500 Top Grade, Low Grade Array Art. Battle Body Star Formation, Incomplete. Beginner 1/500 Essence, Energy and Spirit. 3073288 the decimal point. At the back had been ignored by Jiang Chongkong. He still had 3 million essence, energy and spirit to perfect 6 martial arts. Without hesitation, Jiang Chongkong left the Cloud Sutra and the Battle Body Star Formation to upgrade 6 martial arts. After another upgrade, Jiang Chongkong's 6 martial arts increased at the same time. All 6 martial arts had surpassed the early stage of the Star Path and entered the mid-stage. The mid-stage of the Star Path could bear 40% of the Great Tao. Of course, Jiang Chongkong had just broken through and couldn't bear that much, but he could still bear 20%. The remaining 20% needed him to collect essence, energy and spirit to upgrade. In the mid-stage of the Star Path, Jiang Chongkong's strength increased exponentially. 10% of the Great Tao was a huge difference. When he reached the peak of the Star Path, the difference became bigger and bigger. When Jiang Chongkong was at the peak of the Star Path, he had comprehended the Great Tao and opened 3 star bodies, which was why he could fight against the early stage of the Star Path. If he hadn't comprehended the Great Tao, even if he had 8 martial arts, he couldn't fight against the Star Path martial artists. Now that his 6 martial arts were in the mid-stage, Jiang Chongkong felt that he shouldn't be afraid of the late stage of the Star Path. As for the peak of the Star Path, which carried 100% of the Great Tao, he had no idea. Immersed in the enlightenment, the defense of the indestructible golden body was still terrifying. The Great Tao couldn't be destroyed, provided that it was the same level. Those who surpassed him could also break his defense. However, this was still very terrifying. Even the power of the Great Path could not injure him when he was also carrying 20% of the Great Path. I've been in seclusion for so long, it's time to go out. Jiang Chongkong looked at the time. 7 days. With the Underworld Dragon's treasure and his ability to upgrade, even the Underworld Dragon himself would be ashamed of this speed. Activating the Imperial Scripture of Heaven, his soul power swept across. The shocking scene left Jiang Chongkong dumbfounded. The battle between the immortal palace and the remnant beings had reached a critical moment. And at this critical moment, Shui Qin and Lin Suyun acted at the same time, injecting corpse poison into their companions' bodies. After fighting for 7 days and 7 nights, everyone's great Dao power and star power were almost exhausted. Now that the corpse poison entered their bodies, there was almost no chance of survival. At the critical moment, the 2 peak early-stage Star Path martial artists used the last of their strength and barely escaped. As for Shui Qin and Lin Suyun, they stood side by side and actually merged into one. After acting for so long, you guys are finally willing to risk your lives. Lin Suyun grabbed the corpses, her expression cold. 2 escaped, these 5 should be enough. Facing this change, Jiang Chongkong couldn't recover for a while. The 2 fused, and their strength directly soared to the peak early-stage Star Path. No wonder he felt that their souls and great Tao were similar, so they were the same person. Chapter 388. If this news were to spread out, no one would believe it. The Immortal Palace's Lin Suyun and Shui Qin were the same person, and both of them had reached the Star Path realm. After the fusion, she still looked like Lin Suyun. She brought the corpses of the 5 Star Path martial artists and rode the Sea Dragon's corpse into the Mermaid King city. Jiang Chongkong moved and appeared beside the Abyss Dragon without a sound. "Little brother Kong, you're out of seclusion?" the Abyss Dragon said in pleasant surprise. "Lower your voice. Someone's coming. Let's see what she's up to." Jiang Chongkong said softly and sank into the ground with the Abyss Dragon. Now, he was a little curious. What was Lin Suyun trying to do by scheming so much? Could it be that he wanted to capture the 5 Star Path cultivators and give them to the King of Mermaids as tonics? If that was the case, then it wouldn't be easy to make a move. He had taken the Star Crystal of the Mermaid King. Judging from the soul martial artist's tone, he had a good relationship with the Mermaid King. Moreover, because of the Netherworld Abyssal Dragon, he really could not ruin the Mermaid King's plan. Lin Suyun brought the 5 Star Path corpses and the 2 Sea Clan keepsakes, and fused them into one. It was an azure gem, exactly the same as the one on the scepter beside the King of Mermaids. He opened the Mermaid King city, and headed straight for the Mermaid King Palace with the Sea Tribe's token in his hand. Without the corpses, Lin Suyun had a smooth journey to the palace. Lin Suyun placed the 5 corpses of the Star Cultivators in front of the door. Then, the sapphire glowed with a gray light. A surge of soul force rippled out. The corpses of the 5 Star Path martial artists, under the illumination of the gray light, actually released a dense death chi. A majestic aura of death surged into the platform beneath the Sea King's body. Lin Suyun's lips parted as she chanted a silent incantation. The gemstone in his hand glowed brightly and slowly rose into the sky. The Mermaid King's scepter trembled slightly and emitted an azure glow that resonated with the gem. A near-divine body, a well-preserved near-divine body, a perfect water elemental body. Lin Suyun stood up slowly. Her eyes were burning with passion, as if she wanted to melt the Mermaid King. "From now on, I will be the Mermaid King, the god of the Sea Tribe." His voice was filled with excitement, and his body was trembling. An illusory figure stepped out from Lin Suyun's body. It looked exactly like her. So, with the help of the Sea Tribe's token, the sapphire, his soul power was not afraid of the aura of death and corpse here. He flew towards the Mermaid King on the platform. In the dark, Jiang Chongkong and the Abyss Dragon were a little stunned. He was going to take over the body of the Mermaid King. Was Lin Suyun crazy? A peak early-stage Star Path cultivator actually wanted to possess the Mermaid King? This near god was just recuperating. He was not dead yet. "That crazy woman," the Abyss Dragon said in disbelief with its mouth wide open. "She is indeed a crazy woman. However, what gives her the confidence to do so?" Jiang Chongkong said in a low voice. Without sufficient confidence, how would Lin Suyun dare to possess the King of the Mermaids? The Abyss Dragon shook its head. What should we do? You want to watch her take possession? Of course we can't just watch. Let's go and see if we can save Lin Suyun. Don't let the Mermaid King kill her. Jiang Chongkong brought the Nether Dragon and went straight to the Mermaid King's palace. At this moment, Lin Suyun had already entered the body of the Mermaid King. The sapphire that was glowing with gray light fell on the body of the Mermaid King. The gray light spread out as if it was suppressing the body of the Mermaid King. The finger of the Mermaid King trembled for a moment and then stopped moving. His face was still red and nothing could be seen. A human and a dragon came to the front of the Mermaid King's palace again. The sea snake corpses swam towards them again. Brother Kong, I don't think she will succeed. Let's not go over. The Abyss Dragon was a little scared. These corpses would not give him face anymore. Whether they were from the Yellow Springs bloodline or not, they would still attack. Even if Jiang Chongkong was in the middle stage of Star Path, he might not be a match for these corpses. It's okay. 2 big star symbols appeared between Jiang Chongkong's eyebrows and the aura of 2 true gods spread out. The sea snake corpses paused for a moment and returned. The Abyss Dragon looked at him in shock. Brother Kong, what are you doing? The 2 old friends of the Mermaid King, Jiang Chongkong said, and all 8 martial arts turned into the power of the Imperial Heaven Scripture. With the aura of 2 true gods, they did not make things difficult for him. Brother Dragon, please protect me. After speaking, Jiang Chongkong's soul body stepped out and flew onto the stone platform, entering the body of the Mermaid King. The body of the Mermaid King was filled with the Tao of water. It was a stronger Tao that far surpassed the total Tao of Jiang Chongkong. The Tao of near gods. Although it did not explode, the aura of 2 true gods still gave him a strong pressure. The meridians were like the Tao of dragons. Jiang Chongkong went straight to the Stargate. A blue star door, a blue star filled with the aura of the Grand Tao and covered in profound Tao patterns floated within the star door. The soul of the Mermaid King was sleeping quietly in the blue star. Lin Suyun touched the star and felt the imprint on it. Mermaid King, did you also pursue the immortal realm? The Tao is complete and this body is still at its peak. As long as I control this body, I will have the power of the Mermaid King when he was at his peak. The faint soul body directly stepped into the star. Jiang Chongkong also came to the Stargate. With the imprint of a near god, it did not stop him. Lin Suyun had already entered the star. A broken gray dagger appeared in the hand of the soul. The soul of the Mermaid King was still sleeping and did not notice that danger had arrived. The gray dagger stabbed down and pierced the soul. Suddenly, it opened its eyes. The star shook and the Tao power shook. A strong force tried to force Lin Suyun back. But the gray dagger also released a strange Tao, suppressing the soul of the Mermaid King. You are courting death. The Mermaid King woke up and was furious. It tried to use the near god Tao to kill Lin Suyun. Although the star shook, the near god Tao did not attack Lin Suyun. It only shook. Stop struggling, Mermaid King. Lin Suyun's face was sinister. Your time is over. The merfolk have been destroyed. What's the point of you living? Get lost. The Mermaid King roared. Her delicate face was full of anger. Tao patterns appeared on her soul. The strong Tao power spread and forced Lin Suyun back. But the gray dagger was still in her soul. The Tao patterns shook, but it could not move the dagger. The Mermaid King reached out and grabbed the handle of the dagger. Suddenly, the gray light shone and destroyed the power of her Tao. Why do you have this? The Mermaid King let go and let the dagger destroy her Tao. Then, she reached out to grab Lin Suyun. I got it by chance. Mermaid King, accept your fate. This dagger has killed a near god. Although it is broken, you are not at your best. Lin Suyun said coldly. Instead of retreating, she lunged at the Mermaid King. You can't kill me. The Mermaid King's expression was cold. She ignored the damage caused by the dagger and grabbed Lin Suyun. A blood-curdling scream could be heard. Lin Suyun's soul was forcefully torn apart by the Mermaid King. But the Mermaid King was also injured. The dagger went in again and her soul body staggered back. I didn't expect you to fight with your life under such circumstances. Lin Suyun's face was ferocious like a ghost. The Mermaid King did not say anything. Suddenly, she looked up. A soul figure with great power landed on the star. Chapter 389. Jiang Changkong? I'm Liang Qiuxuani's master. Lin Suyun's expression changed. She then smiled. Since you're here, help me kill the Mermaid King. You'll be rewarded. Although she did not want to see Jiang Changkong, it would be great to have another helper. She had used Liang Qiuxuani many times and had given Jiang Changkong many benefits. At this time, if nothing unexpected happened, Jiang Changkong should be helping her. The joy on the Mermaid King's face turned cold when she heard that. She felt the aura of an old friend. It was a familiar one. However, this person seemed to know her opponent. They seemed to be friends too. Jiang Changkong glanced at Lin Suyun and looked at the Mermaid King. 13 Ocean Kings? Mermaid King? My old friend asked me to send his regards to you. The Mermaid King smiled, but she was still cautious. Okay. Help me kill her. I can't kill her for now, Jiang Changkong said. I still have a lot of things to ask her. The Mermaid King's face turned cold again. Jiang Changkong, you don't want the resources of the fairy palace anymore? Lin Suyun's expression was cold. There are countless resources in the fairy palace. I can get you the research on the power of the sun. I'll get it myself. The information in your head is what I want. Jiang Changkong snorted. He raised his palm and his soul power shrouded the Mermaid King. I'll help you catch her then. I just need a remnant of her soul. The Mermaid King attacked again. Her soul palm fell. Jiang Changkong, you're courting death. Lin Suyun shouted angrily. Her soul shone with dark light and she dashed out of the star. You can't leave. Jiang Changkong chased after her and said goodbye to the Mermaid King. Mermaid King, I'll help you later. As soon as the two left, the Mermaid King relaxed and collapsed. She immediately activated her godly Tao to resist the erosion of the dagger. Two figures dashed out of the Mermaid King's body one after the other. Lin Suyun was still one step faster. After all, with the blue gemstone, she was not suppressed by the Mermaid King's great Tao. His soul returned to his body, and the Tao might of an early stage star Tao swept out. Rumble! With the amplification of the blue gem, the vast Tao might and the water great Tao's might increased. Jiang Changkong, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. You're just a soul, so how can you still be so arrogant? Lin Suyun shouted coldly and slammed her palm toward Jiang Changkong, who was sitting cross-legged. As for Jiang Changkong, his soul had yet to enter his body. Roar! The abyss dragon roared, but the great Tao energy sent it tumbling. Dang! As the palm landed, it felt like it had landed on a godly bell. The runes automatically manifested, and a powerful rebound force swept out. Puff! Blue blood splattered everywhere as Lin Suyun was sent flying. Her expression was one of shock. Not only did his palm strike fail to break the defense, but he was also injured by the recoil. Her water great Tao was also directly dispersed. Jiang Changkong's soul returned to his body. He opened his eyes and looked at Lin Suyun coldly. Without the suppression of the Mermaid King's great Tao, you're like an ant in front of me. His soul power swept out. There was nothing in the world that couldn't be controlled by the imperial scripture of heaven. A powerful force forcefully wrapped around Lin Suyun. The water great Tao was activated, and the power of the Tao pattern was vast, but she couldn't break free. Her body flew toward Jiang Changkong uncontrollably. His water great Tao turned into a blue chain and tied her up. How can you control my great Tao? Lin Suyun wanted to struggle, but she couldn't do anything. Even her water great Tao had become Jiang Changkong's weapon. Jiang Changkong didn't say anything. He pressed his right hand on Lin Suyun's forehead and searched her soul. Images appeared in his mind, allowing him to watch them. However, he couldn't take it for long. The content was a little explosive. This woman actually used her own body to gain a higher position. She and Shui Qin were originally the same person. She found the soul incarnation secret technique in some inheritances. She used some rare materials to refine Lin Suyun's body and sent it to the Immortal Palace. There were two existences behind her. One was from the Immortal Palace, and the other was a remnant of the universe. She used Lin Suyun's body to hook them up. That was why she could get the Immortal Palace's information and top-tier medicine. She had already used her main body, Shui Qin, to move the things in the ruins here. She had long discovered the Mermaid King City, but she wasn't strong enough back then, and she didn't have a dagger. Recently, her strength had improved, and she obtained the incomplete soul dagger. She tricked the martial artists from both sides, and used the Star Dao blood sacrifice to forcibly possess them. However, the blue gem could only obtain the Mermaid King's inheritance. But she was too ambitious. She not only wanted the Mermaid King's inheritance, but also the Mermaid King's godlike power. It was worth mentioning that the relatives of Liangqiu Xuani and the other disciples were all killed by her. Some of them weren't killed, so she used her name to save them, making them feel grateful. What a good move. You want to take advantage of both sides, but you want to destroy one side. After Jiang Chongkong read through the memories, he infused his astral power to seal Lin Suyun. After searching her soul, Lin Suyun knew that Jiang Chongkong knew everything about her. I've been good to you. I've given you so many benefits, but you're biting the hand that feeds you. Lin Suyun yelled hysterically. Good to me? But why do I see the death trap you've set for me in your memories? You wanted to kill me the second time Liangqiu Xuani asked me to cooperate with you. Jiang Chongkong sneered. But my strength increased too quickly, beyond your estimation, and the Federation paid attention to me, so you didn't know where to start. No matter what, you owe me a favor, Lin Suyun said coldly. Don't make it sound so funny. Even if I owe you a favor, it's Liangqiu Xuani's. Jiang Chongkong pointed his finger, and Lin Suyun fainted. Brother Dragon, help me look after him. Brother Kong, can you eat her? The nether dragon ran over excitedly and bared its teeth. Not now. Keep her to see Liangqiu Xuani. Jiang Chongkong said and looked at the Mermaid King. I'm going to see her. His soul entered the Mermaid King's body again, and the suppression of the divine path was even stronger. Jiang Chongkong knew that the Mermaid King had woken up and regained control of its body. The Mermaid King came to the planet again. It supported itself with its tail and looked at Jiang Chongkong coldly. You don't even trust your old friend now? Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. The soul-stabilizing tree in his soul swayed. I'm afraid you can't stop the soul-stabilizing tree in your current state. The dagger was still stuck in her soul, and it hadn't been taken out yet. If Jiang Chongkong didn't come in, the Mermaid King would be able to kill Lin Suyun, but it would also be severely injured. The Mermaid King's expression gradually relaxed. Jiang Chongkong and the soul-stabilizing tree were enough to devour her. The soul-stabilizing tree's roots extended out and wrapped around the dagger. Jiang Chongkong's expression darkened. Bear with it. The Mermaid King nodded silently. A majestic soul power surged, and the soul-stabilizing tree's roots pulled out the gray dagger. The Mermaid King's soul body shook violently. The divine path flowed, and it stabilized its soul body. Are you his disciple? The Mermaid King asked. No, I just received his inheritance, Jiang Chongkong said indifferently. The Mermaid King said calmly, What wish do you have? When I recover, I can fulfill it. I can make any wish? Jiang Chongkong looked slightly excited. Of course, the Mermaid King said proudly. I want to become a divine person first. The Mermaid King was speechless.